Quick fast, like that. At 7 a.m., Nelson Havi, who is the former president of the Law Society of Kenya, will be here. Guilty verdict: is the acting inspector general above the law? Yeah, so it was in the news yesterday. Yeah, he has not gone to court to honor summonses several times, and his verdict will come, the court will make a decision about him on Friday. So the Law Society of Kenya, former president, will be joining us at 7 a.m. to talk about this level of impunity. What's it all about? 8 o'clock, we shall look at what's been happening in Israel and Palestine. What's been going on? The Israeli-Palestinian war 1 year on. What will it take for a ceasefire? Hazem Shabat is the Palestine Ambassador to Kenya, State of Palestine Ambassador to Kenya. He'll be joining us at 8 a.m. for this conversation. Yeah, many will say, but they should be coming together with the Israeli ambassador. No, no, they will not come together with the Israeli ambassador. The Israeli ambassador will come on a different day, okay? So we'll start with this one, the conversation with the Palestinian Ambassador to Kenya on what's been happening in the Gaza area for all this 1 year. Then at 9 a.m., we talk about banking the Kenyan diaspora, how new fintech innovations are making remittances cheaper and easier for everybody who's in the diaspora. Diaspora is from where? Anywhere. From Uganda to...
What are the big one in diaspora? Okay, sorry. Don't be angry.
Capital. So Jean Karienye is the head of digitization and digital product at Credit Bank. She'll be here to talk to us about that at 9 a.m. So sawa? Iyo sawa? Yaoneo. Kila mtu fungulia ye mlango. Fungulia ye mlango. Yesu umefika. Sibor. 17 minutes after 6. Ndu, give us the weather forecast. It's really hot in the studio right now.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
Partly cloudy conditions in Nairobi, 14 degrees. We'll see highs of 26 and lows of 13. 13 will be the low in a partly cloudy Nakuru, going to highs of 27. And we'll see highs of 25 and lows of 13 in a mostly cloudy Nyeri at 13. It's partly cloudy at 12 in Eldoret, highs of 24. And 22 is partly sunny in Mombasa with highs of 28, and we'll see highs of 29 in a partly sunny Malindi at 23. It's 19 and cloudy in Kisumu, highs of 31, and we'll see highs of 30 in Kakamega where it's cloudy at 17. 18 and partly cloudy in Kampala with highs of 29, and Dar es Salaam is cloudy at 24 with highs of 30 and lows of 22. 11 degrees and cloudy in Johannesburg with highs of 24, while Mogadishu will be sunny through Wednesday, currently at 26, going to highs of 30. Addis Ababa is sunny at 12, highs of 20, and Lagos at 26, mostly cloudy, going to highs of 29 and lows of 25. Kinshasa is partly cloudy at 23 with highs of 32. It's already afternoon in Beijing and it's 24 degrees and cloudy, highs of 28 and lows of 17. It's cloudy in Paris at 15 with highs of 17 and lows of 8, while London at 10 degrees is mostly cloudy, we'll see highs of 15. It's clear at 20 in New York Tuesday night, coming into Wednesday, we'll see highs of 26 and lows of 15.
Your intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Watu wako wangapi kwenye mtandao?
Hata sijui.
Wengi.
Good morning, my children. Allah. Okay, so Desmond says we are his children.
Yes.
Or they're his children he's talking to. And he's asking CT specifically, why are these ODM rebels started to struggle for leadership, yet Baba has not won the AU seat?
Simple answer, this is politics.
Okay. School dormitories remain minefields of disaster in waiting. Why all the death? Or is it a sacrifice, says Don Sabo this morning. Ndu, kindly ask CT for his opinion. Yes,
my opinion.
Is that one?
It's politics. Yes. Hilary Mosota says, good morning from Sydney, Australia. Good morning from where? Mogadishu, says CPA Mabs, and he's greeting. He says he's happy that City's Somalia proverb is going to come from Somalia. Nyadi Chukunzira says good morning from Lusail. Ndu City Eric. Driving with Jimosi says good morning. He's giving us 2 Z's, meaning what, you're sleeping. Georgia Koth says good morning. Good morning, Spice family. Tuned in from Doha, says Daniel Charo. Joe Mungai is tuned in this morning from Lake Washington. Saseni, because of our love for bad boys, I see Masengeli running for Nairobi governor.
By the way,
See syllabus umesukuma sana.
No,
kabisa.
not really.
Where? Okay.
Not really.
Hello, Princess Ndu. Good morning, Leo. How are you this morning? Still no preliminary report on the cause of fire 5 days later as Kenya Power investigated itself, absolved itself of any wrongdoing, and now said, we are ready to work with you should you want to know what's going on. They actually did. Hello, Spicy team. Happy Wednesday, says Linus Kitonga. Leshan Sanchez says, good morning, Team Spice. Tuning in from the lakeside city of Kisumu. Tuned in from Mombasa is Peter Kiari. Raphael Kige is also tuned in this morning. Hello from Houston. Great presidential debate. It was one to watch. Interesting. And everybody says that Kamala wiped the floor with Donald Trump. James Mwangi says, it is sad that the beneficiaries of public schools wrecked the same system that helped them, ushering in private schools for no good.
Yeah.
Joseph Kangola says, good morning, Team Situation Room. Jimmy Munudhi is here. Ogani Malala is greeting everybody and says a thumbs up. Cecilia Ongwen says, good morning. Many people tuning in. Pap D, Ndu Eric, where were you in January 1964? I was not even a
to history.
Nikama. Hello, folks, says Sonnet. Gerald Said says, alikuwa wapi 1964.
You should start by telling us on January 4th, 1964.
When I was.
Yes.
Matthew Kithara says, good morning. Rachel Wajiro is tuned in this morning. Zach OK says, good morning. Maosa, where? Very many people. Irene Wairimo, we see you. Good morning. Agola is here and says good morning and is saying good morning. Douglas Kibogong says good morning. Chris Maura is here. Abdifata is also here. Everybody, we see you. Akinyi, Lucy, good morning. Everybody, karibuni sana.
Yes. City?
Yes.
Is the Somali proverb going to be from Somalia?
This morning's proverb from Somalia will
be from Somalia.
Yes, it's
From Somalia?
That's the general idea.
Okay.
Yes, and this is how it goes. These youths taught their mother to give birth.
These youths taught their mother to give birth.
Yes.
Where?
So, yo.
Sounds like something Dr. Patience Okoh would say.
These youths taught their mother to give. Okay, Sawa. We'll hear. We'll hear from others. Headlines.
Have you noticed what he has done? Okay, Sawa. On the front page of the Standard. Very good, man. Thank you. Make or break for Ruto in cash crisis is on the front page of the Standard. If the law is struck out, Kenya will suffer unprecedented financial crisis and lead to a default on national debt. The government warned as it scrambled a vigorous appeal at the Supreme Court to overturn an appellate court's decision, even as the respondent said statute is fatally flawed. This is all in relation to what? The finance bill. We'll look at the details of that. MPs query fishy 1.6 billion shillings spent on a marine census. So they wanted to count the fish in the ocean. Sour. They spent 1.6 billion counting the fish. And unfortunately, we don't know how many fish there are after the 1.6 billion.
What do you mean?
Sindionivo.
Okay, the fish left.
They're
counting fish where? In a lake or an ocean?
I will tell you. Don't worry. You'll just be happy where you are.
Yeah?
ODM succession wars explode as more enter the fray. Remember what Rigathi Gachagua said, the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya? You people should only jostle for available seats.
Yes.
Don't look for the ones that already have people. Tafadhalini. We don't want more drama than is necessary.
Yeah.
Mount Kenya, this way, that way, this way. It's on the front page of the Standard. Kamala Trump in face-off, that came to an end this morning. We saw that debate take place. Looking at more stories. The front page of the Daily Nation. Why Raila MP skipped Ruto meeting? Allah. Some ODM members of parliament from Nairobi boycotted a State House meeting with the President, William Ruto, on Monday, exposing simmering tensions and a silent rebellion against a recent deal that brought opposition chief Raila Odinga and his party into a broad-based union with the ruling Kenya Kwanza administration. So even them on Monday, they said, we are busy, kidogo. Police deny killing 3 in night shootout. They say it was not us, it wasn't me. The men's bullet-riddled bodies were taken to the mortuary yesterday morning by police officers who insisted that they knew nothing about the death.
What?
But this is interesting because there's such a thing as ballistics. And you can tell which gun shot this particular bullet. You can actually tell. So see, now that will be done and then we will know. Also, for any police weapon, that is discharged, there's a report, or there should be a report about it. So see, now we'll know.
We'll know.
Fresh wave of school unrest sparks alarm. Stakeholders in the education sector have expressed concern over cases of unrest in secondary schools that have left property worth millions destroyed and some schools closed over the last 2 weeks. Universities are also up in arms, literally, in this picture. More University School of Medicine students doing a demonstration in Eldoret City, Uasin Gishu County, Monday, to protest against the new university funding model. Even though people went back to school, they said, we are not boarding. Alarm over unrest. This is a story that's also carried on the back page of The Nation. Hope for consumers as Kenya Power begins renegotiating contracts. What does that mean? Consumers could enjoy low power costs should Kenya Power succeed in renegotiating lopsided power purchase agreements. You know, those ones that go for 25 years and you have to pay even if you don't use the power.
Yeah.
So now they're saying it's possible to renegotiate those, and essentially that would mean that you pay less for power. C'est bon? No?
Kabisa.
Okay.
In the Business Daily, the main headline here is about the Nairobi Securities Exchange, where to trade in the NSE, you need to have an account. It's called Central Depository and Settlement Corporation, CDSC account. Now, there are 1,555,073 share accounts with the CDSC. There, over the last 2 years, only 38,594 accounts have been trading, meaning about 97.5% of those accounts for share trading at the NSE have remained dormant over the last 2 years. So what has happened? They've been frozen. What does it mean? This means that it's basically telling us the kind of apathy that there has been with trading at the NSE. If 97% of people who have CDSC accounts are not buying or selling shares, they're just... It means it's at the NSE. Reduced participation of retail investors is a product of the high-level speculation that dominates their investment decisions. Other headline, Treasury fears losing 214 billion shillings if the 2023 Finance Act falls. The Treasury was pleading with the Supreme Court to overturn the decision of the Court of Appeal, quashing the Finance Act 2023, arguing that the government will lose 214 billion. This is, as we've seen in the other papers as well, what was happening in the Supreme Court yesterday, which continues. Defaults to NSSF, NHIF by state firms tripled to 716 million shillings.
What?
State corporations and semi-autonomous agencies unremitted deductions to the NSSF and NHIF more than tripled to 716 million in the fiscal year ended June. Remember, these are deductions.
Yep.
Staff have been deducted from their salaries. These are state corporations. Some of them are funded from the exchequer. Others trade and they make money and it stays there with them. But they are deducting and they are not remitting the money. 716 million shillings. Ila impunity iko Kenya ni mbaya. Treasury overdraft fees up 87% on higher rates. Butter Kenya rules out price wars with rivals and value of Nairobi building approvals goes up. City, what's in the Star?
Top right-hand corner in teal green, track record cheap fertilizer and affordable cheap houses. Now, that's not what they said. I am the one who read that one.
Okay.
Let me say it again. Cheap fertilizer and affordable housing top Ruto's achievements. This is a story on page 6.
Oh. Wow, okay. Nice.
Nice, huh? Right. Then, Tegay, former lover, died after complications. Yes, this Dixon Ndiema. Okay? Yeah, the fellow died. Okay. Half of all patients battling mental health problems.
Half of patients?
Yes.
What do they do?
People who report to hospitals.
Oh, okay.
Are battling mental health issues.
Yes, they are battling it. Okay. Masengeli could embolden rogue officers, says ICJ.
Could.
Ish.
Could.
I think it's already out of the water. It's walking around the room already.
Sure.
Gazungu. Why many schools are death traps. This is bang in the middle of the paper. Most don't have the right equipment and tools to handle fires. Okay? Then there's a story of a woman who was killed in Kitale. Okay? She was buried in a shallow grave. And she was exhumed. Lover among the three arrested over exhumed Kitale woman. This story is on page 3.
The story was quite bizarre.
This absolutely...
In how it started. It was... Police were pursuing another case.
Completely different case.
Yeah. of crime in this area. Somebody had been killed, a boda and the boda stolen. And now police are actually now tracking the killers. They get into this house, they find all these things, plus the boda, plus these guys, and then they notice some loose soil on the ground. They're like, eh? What? Konini up? Kumbe.
Yes. The lady's name was Alice Chemutai.
Yeah.
This mental health issue is real. We say it, time lapses, we say it again. It is not a problem in the country, it is a crisis. Yes.
Of emergency status.
Yes, full blown.
Yeah.
Okay. So that is what the Star has for you today.
Okay. Do you have the People Daily?
No, I don't have the People Daily or the People Not Daily. I do not have the People Daily.
Okay.
Yes.
Then let's look at traffic and then we'll look at the story in detail. 29 to 7.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
All right, still early pickings for traffic this morning, a few minutes after 6:30, and it's now when it's starting to build up on the Thika Superhighway coming in from Survey through towards the Pangani underpass. And I think that's probably the worst of it that we'll see for now. Kangunda Road is also starting to pile up, coming in all the way from Njiro, Teke through towards Outer Ring. Outer Ring probably in both directions will look a little bit crazy later, and we're starting to see traffic coming in from Outer Ring, then trying to find its way through towards North Airport Road. So that's going to do the thing for some time. Jogger Road is not too bad. A little bit of traffic coming in around Botella there, and then going towards, or rather coming in from the Makadara train station area. And then, of course, on Haile Selassie, in and outbound traffic is busy as folks unload the stuff that you will eat tonight. Okay, keeping an eye on things. Let's see what happens as we get into traffic hour later. Talk to us, SpiceFM. KE on X, hashtag the Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
Okay. The Cabinet Secretary for the Blue Economy, Mining and Maritime Affairs, Ali Hassan Joho, is facing a hard time, and we're talking about the fish stock assessment.
Okay.
All right. He revealed that they had spent 1.6 billion shillings to assess the Indian Ocean in the 2021-2024, 2023, I beg your pardon, 2024 financial year. Okay.
Last year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yesterday, Cabinet Secretary Hassan Joho and Principal Secretary Betsy Muthoni Jage appeared before the National Assembly's Departmental Committee on Blue Economy, Water and Irrigation. They faced the wrath of MPs seeking to know whether there was any value for the money in the undertaking. Trouble began after the duo, answering queries on the ministry's budget implementation for the 2023-2024 financial year, revealed that 3.6 billion shillings had been allocated to the ministry for a 3-year period to undertake a fish stock assessment in the Indian Ocean. Now, the undertaking that commenced on the 1st of July 2023, they said, is set to be completed in the 2025-2026 financial year and be implemented in 3 phases. Each phase is expected to gobble up 1.2 billion shillings. According to documents tabled before the committee, the first phase began as it said it would and completed on the 30th of June 2024, during which the ministry expended 1.6 billion. This, the officials said, comprised of 1.2 billion shillings yearly allocations and a 400 million shilling supplementary allocation. Along the way, we're going to need some money for, stuff. So according to Thiati MP William Kamket, so you are telling this committee you were allocated the billions just to count fish in the ocean? Which essentially is what it is.
Yes. What's his issue? Okay, so Kamket comes from Thiati.
He comes from Thiati, there's no ocean.
They don't have a river like this.
Well, it's in Baringo County. But Baringo has how many lakes? Like 3.
Yes, it does.
But it's not
and serious lakes.
So,
but him is one unahesabu samaki.
Utamaliza samaki.
It is. By the way,
utamaliza hata ukianza leo.
It's a very valid question.
Sindio? The market.
It's something that needs to be explained.
Unahesabu samaki.
Bless you.
What's ocean in Kiswahili?
Bahari.
The Marakwet East MP Bowen Kanango led committee further sought to know if there was any value for money. Out of that assessment, it's kind of funny, sorry. What was the end product? Do you have anything to give us? We gave you 1.2 billion to do some stock assessment in last year. At this point, you should be telling us and this country that we have this number of tuna fish, this number of tilapia. We gave you the money so that we can know what we have in our waters. A request for additional funding to the tune of 600 million in the 2024-2025 financial year, and failure by the ministry's acting chief executive officer to give satisfactory answers, however, attracted the ire of MPs. The CEO failed to give exact figures with relation to findings from the assessment, and he requested time to prepare a presentation. Watch the end and
Wait. Okay. So it just appears like there was just poor performance of the ministry officials here.
There's no proper reporting as well.
Because clearly, I mean, this is an important exercise.
It is.
If you're talking about our blue economy and you need to know about our marine capacity, we have to do some sort of assessment of what we have, right, within our waters. It makes sense to me. However they do it, I don't know. I don't know whether they're, laying a trap and then extrapolating and saying we've caught in this net here.
This is a female tuna.
So
and
we can
because
say,
we know that they will lay certain number of eggs every year.
I don't know how they do it. But
then,
or how they report. And that's what they should have come here with a presentation to actually show MPs this is what happens.
But the question is, where did you think you were coming? You were coming before a parliamentary committee, and these are the questions that you know they were going to ask you. You should have had the report with you to say, look, and you know they were coming to ask you about money spent, information
account
gathered,
for this,
results that you came to at the end of the assessment for 1 year. Mind you, this is going to happen for 3 years. So at the end of year one, they're basically asking you, we gave you 1.2 billion.
What
plus
milestone
an extra
have you hit so
400
far?
million. What have you done so far? Now, if you say you want to still go back and report, what have you been doing? Did you think you were coming to the beach? Literally? What were you doing? So, I mean, the question is...
So the CEO said, let me go back and prepare a report.
Yes, the CEO said, let me go back and put my things together and then I will come back and tell you. So begs the question, where did you think you were coming on this Monday afternoon to a parliamentary committee on the same thing where you work, for which they gave you money last year and have given you more money this year? And you've asked for another 600 million in this FY. So the question is, okay, guys, come on, can we take it a little bit more seriously? It is important for the blue economy for you to know what your resource is. But how seriously are you taking it?
No. Was Joho there?
Yes, he was.
So Joho was seated there.
Yes.
The PS was there.
Yes.
And who's the CEO?
The CEO for the chief county. Sorry. The CEO, yes, Chief Executive Officer of the county, was there. Failed to give exact figures with relation to findings from the assessment. And
CEO of what again?
The CEO of the county is it's Chief Executive Officer of the county.
There's nothing like that.
I mean, sorry, Chief Executive Officer, the ministry's acting Chief Executive Officer.
Okay.
Of what?
The ministry.
All right. There's somebody.
Ministry has a chief executive officer.
Apparently.
What are we talking about here? Is this a reporting issue? Which ministry has a CEO? What do you mean a CEO of a ministry? What position is that?
No, within ministry we have directors, we have
CEO?
undersecretaries.
Failure by the ministry's acting chief executive officer to offer satisfactory answers, however, attracted the ire of MPs. The CEO had failed to give exact figures with relation to findings from the assessment.
Right. So there were findings. You know
and it says it's the ministry CEO.
Okay,
is there not a ministry CEO?
No, there's nothing
Maybe
like
this
that.
ministry has one.
There's nothing like that. There's nothing like a ministry CEO.
Let me just say this. Mistake here. You cannot come and give a report to people who have no clue what you're talking about without explaining to them what it is that you did.
Yeah.
And how you did it. And how you arrived at those numbers. And the purpose for which and how it is regularly done. Because it may appear like it's a one-off and yet it is not a one-off.
This is true.
Yes.
But Joho and his team now came and said, okay, you know what we'll do? So, sorry, maybe we do not come prepared today. But what we'll do is that
they can't be excused.
They've responded that a stock assessment has actually been done, okay? And that it would table a report on what had been done in the last financial year in due time. So due time is up to you to decide what due time is.
The methods by which you conduct a census are known. They are not, it's not like a secret. No, there are certain types of surveys. There are data collection techniques, the data processing. These things are known. Ask any marine scientist, they will tell you. And by the way, we have a division which is akin to Kemri that deals with marine life in this country. That's what they do, research into marine. So these are things we know. We even have units that do this work. How does somebody come to Parliament to answer questions? Then you're telling me you're not prepared, and yet you say a report was prepared. Where is it?
I keep asking, where did you think you were going? You were going before a committee which was going to ask you questions about the money that they gave you the last year to do 1, 2, 3. Where did you think you were going?
Sorry.
Upendi?
Yeah.
No, there are some things that you think of them all, you get as a result of your thinking is a headache.
Meanwhile, it's 1.2 billion, no? Just for you to remember.
Just so that we know.
Let's talk about these killings. Police have denied killing 3 young men in Mutoho village, Murang'a County on Monday night. The bodies were taken to the mortuary yesterday morning by police officers who insisted they knew nothing about the killings. This is despite a signal by the security committee. 3 suspects connected to robberies in the area and its environs had been trailed from Thika, and a gunfight ensued in Mutoho, leading to them getting killed and a pistol with 12 bullets found. That's what the signal said. Murang'a South DCI boss John Kanda said yesterday, "I am not privy to that incident. We have no such official report. We were informed by villagers of 3 bodies in Mutoho. We went and took them to the mortuary. I don't have details." Residents interviewed said the 3 were shot by men who behaved like police officers at 9 p.m. The 3 were in a car. The vehicle stopped in Mutoho on the Keno Murang'a Road. The men alighted from the car. Soon after, 2 other cars arrived and there was gunfire. This is a local resident who said, "I believe the 3 were sent to their killers by the driver in whose car they were. It must have been a setup." He added that the men who shot them had the aura of police officers, though not in uniform. The confidence, the precision, and the marksmanship involved appear to have been police officers. He said when the 3 men gunned down briefly exchanged fire with the killers. When all went silent, the assailants took a small gun from the 3, rolled the bodies to the bush, boarded their vehicles, and sped away. The car the 3 men arrived in had already left. So these thugs, suspected thugs, come from Thika. They get to this area past Keno. They stop. And then 2 cars come. These men get out of the car and they start shooting at the 3 people. There's a driver in their car, the 3 people. Mm-hmm. That driver drives off.
And left to the guys.
Leaves the shootout happening here. These chaps, who, when they finish killing these guys, they roll the bodies into the bushes, they get into their vehicles, they go away.
So there was really a gunfight?
There was one tried to fire back, but it was an execution.
Yeah.
Whether these were police,
it is reported that
gun,
one tried to fire back.
This is a resident who's saying. Somebody who was seeing like one guy there.
Oh, hang on, Rico. So wait, the car stopped at Keno.
Yes, at Mutoho.
Okay.
Yes.
And as it stopped, this other vehicle drove up.
Yes.
Folks got out,
yes.
Shot. The driver of the car that had been parked at Keno now takes off. These guys roll the cars into the bush, the bodies into the bush, then they
get into their own vehicles and they go.
There's the assertion that this driver actually drove these people to their death.
Yeah,
it was like pre-arranged. You bring them.
You brought them to the place where they were going to be taken out.
Yeah, but these people who are killed, who are they exactly?
Exactly.
But the police are saying something different. There's a gentleman here called Mr. Kanda who is being quoted, said the witness's narration is among the several theories that are being investigated. Who is this Kanda? Kanda is the DCI boss for Murang'a South. Police have in recent weeks been accused of extrajudicial killings, abductions, enforced disappearances, and unlawful arrests. Kanda said the shooting in Mutoho are strange to the area. We suspect the men were killed elsewhere and dumped in Mutoho. We are in the dark, but investigations are on. He said officers were dispatched to process the scene and the bodies did not have identification documents. We will rely on missing person reports, relatives coming forward, as well as post-mortem exams to identify them and get a clearer picture of how they died. Mutoho said in recent months, Mutoho, the area, has in recent months suffered insecurity with gangs staging murders, armed robberies, muggings, and extortion. The village has also been a danger spot for motorists and border-borders, reporting many incidents of carjacking and motorcycle theft. Just recently, a 20-year-old woman was found raped and murdered. A security guard was hacked to death in the area. The killers also stole alcohol from one of their bars. Residents say Mutoho has become synonymous with grim news. Our village is now known all over for murder, rape, defilement, and even road accidents. The stretch of the road from Kenol to Karogia appears to be the home of murderers' gangs. But the local DCI boss says that this kind of killing that happened yesterday is strange to the area. This area is normally a peaceful area. That people weren't killed here.
But people are recounting that certain things have been happening regularly.
Strange things happen. Okay? Now, let me give you the other one. Detectives in Kitale are piecing together events that led to the killing of a woman whose decomposing body was found wrapped in a blanket and buried in a shallow grave. 3 people were arrested at the house that the grave was found on Saturday. The woman was later identified as Alice Chemtai. Police officers tracking the suspects stumbled on the fresh grave in front of their rented home in Mokoiwet village, Kiminini sub-county. The suspects, described by police as armed and dangerous, are said to be part of a gang that has been terrorizing Kitale town and its environs. Detectives said the 3 rented the mud house 3 months ago. They add that the house may have been used by the gang as a hideout to plan criminal activities. A court in Kitale had on Monday granted DCI officers permission to exhume the woman's body. Waitaluk residents watched as crime scene investigators exhumed the body yesterday morning. You see? Crime.
What is certain is that it doesn't matter which paper you look at. It's somebody has been shot, somebody's being exhumed, somebody was burnt, and now we are joined with something bizarre. Schools are burning. And it's not as though the numbers are decreasing. Students are going on a rampage. I mean, it's pouring, isn't it?
It is.
It is.
And the old man is snoring.
Yes.
Literally.
Yes.
Yep.
Worrisome things. Worrisome.
Yep.
You know, this matter,
Tell us that story that you had said there of half of patients reported mental illness.
Actually, that is what I was looking at.
Okay.
Do you feel miserable without really knowing why? Yes, I do. Or do you constantly feel tired? Yes. And lack interest in doing even small tasks? Yes, sometimes.
Why are they speaking?
Why
if
are
you
they
want to
talking
talk
you?
to me,
Don't hide in the corners.
talk to me direct.
Tell me.
Why are these people writing? So they quite
Yes, just call you.
Call me and
Call
ask me
me.
these questions. And they know where I am. Anyway, such symptoms, which may point to mental problems such as depression, are quite common according to the Ministry of Health. But most people do not receive the help because health workers ignore these signs, the ministry said. The ministry yesterday launched new guidelines and promised to train community health promoters to recognize signs of common mental health disorders and refer people for help. Dr. Patrick Amoth, Director General for Health, said evidence shows 42% of Kenyans seeking care in primary health facilities have symptoms of severe depression. At the county level, a study done in Nandi County found close to half of the population was living with at least one mental disorder. Yani, there are many, but it's well divided. Where hii ni yako, where hii ndio yako. So people in their lifetime with rates the highest for depression and anxiety. By the way, wajua nasikia stress kidogo, anxiety. It's a disorder.
Nasikia tu hivyo.
Sisikii fiti sana. And nasikia kama ka depression kanakuja. People with depression typically have multiple episodes where they feel sad, empty, or hopeless without knowing why.
You're just feeling poor.
My friend, and you try to pull out of it and it's not pulling. You're just feeling out of it. One may also have angry outbursts, irritability, or frustration over small matters. Amoth said that despite the high burden of mental disorders, most people are never diagnosed. He added that at the population level, the prevalence of mental illness is at 10%.
What was Amoth speaking? Where was he? Who was he telling these things?
They have not said where it is. He was just giving a report, and it has not been said. Hii article haijaandika ati alikuwa amesimama kwa podium fulani, alikuwa anaongea na watu fulani. It's not said.
Amoth was the acting Director General of Health
for the longest possible time
when Mutahi Kagwe formed that task force.
He was
led by Dr. Njenga
yes,
and other experts.
Yes, he was,
to look at the mental health status of the country.
Yes,
and the report came and said, "Ni kubaya.
Kubaya.
Do something about it immediately."
Njenga said so.
So Amoth is now regurgitating what he was told 3 years ago.
When he was acting director, now he's full
Now
Now
director.
he's
full
full
director.
director. And he's saying one of the reasons why this thing goes unnoticed is because medical practitioners, doctors and clinicians are not able to, they ignore these things.
That's according to him.
So what has he done about it?
Minister of Health is supposed to take care of these things. And if this article was written by someone else who doesn't understand this, I would clear. But John Mushangi is a science journalist. He's trained. He knows. So he knows how to report this thing. Okay? I don't know why Dr. Moth is telling us something we already know.
And why he's just repeating it? He should be
Yes.
saying this is what we are
We're
putting
going-
in
we're
place.
doing-
Precisely.
He is the man in charge of health in the country.
He is. Having spoken and said, this is what we said now, this is what we are now doing, because we know this is the situation that we find ourselves in. But from what we're being told here, he's just told us what we already know, and we thank you.
It's a big thing, Bana.
This thing is at the heart of everything we've been reading.
Come on, guys.
The
How many-
deaths,
yeah.
the schools burning, people being shot, bundled into the bush. What do you think mental health is? This is how it's exhibiting. We keep asking, how do you have the head of the police service ignoring court orders? It's a mental health problem.
He's not okay.
No. I'm being sincere.
I get it. I hear
When
you.
somebody who is in charge of a docket as serious as keeping and maintaining the law disregards the law, what do you think you're dealing with?
What's our problem?
Disregards it completely. I'm certain that there are reasons which are probably beyond us and we can't understand with our simple human minds. But that is what makes it more mental than even anything you could think of. Because
This is true.
the ripple effect, ICA is now saying it'll influence the police. Yes, but my worry is not even that one. The problem didn't begin with the police chief. The problem began with people who are very high officers in the country. That's where the problem began.
Who would use these police chiefs at whim?
Yes.
What do you
yes.
expect them to do when they're on their own later?
Yes. And others see and know.
It is true.
So meaning, anyone who has any authority does not require to go through the process of separating. You just you just create your own fiefdom and just do what you want.
What you want.
Yes.
Exactly. It is not our faulty. Kenya Power says over fatal school inferno. For real, it says faulty. Or fault. Kenya Power Company has distanced itself from any culpability in the tragic fire at Hillside Endarasha Academy that claimed the lives of 21 students. In a statement, the company said the cause of the fire was unrelated to electrical infrastructure or power supply. So they went ahead, did their own investigation, absolved themselves of any wrongdoing or culpability, and then came back and said, this is what we didn't find. The company emphasized that its role is to deliver reliable electricity and maintains its systems were functioning properly at the time of the incident. Kenya Power's acting regional manager, Duncan Mashuka, said during the incident, they immediately mobilized a technical team to visit the school and conduct a preliminary analysis of the site. This was during the incident, okay, which shows the line supplying the school was low voltage line from the Muga substation, and at the time of the fire, the power supply was stable with no reported issues. So they said all the installations, including the supply cables, earthing, low and high tension fuses, etc., there was okay. And there was no evidence to suggest the fire was caused by an electrical fault or failure on their part. So they basically said, look, so we're going to remove ourselves from any of this, but we are willing to work with you to find out what could have possibly been the issue.
Where did the issue of electrical fault come from?
Because there was a statement that came out
From who?
From one of the parents, actually,
Who was not in the school
who
at
was
the
not
time.
in the school at the time, and said that it's possible that a bulb.
This thing of electrical fault is always
Blue.
sijui there is fire in Gikomba electrical fault. Sijui there is fire where electrical fault. And
Why
it
is
never,
it that only Kikomba has electoral faults?
Yeah.
Why?
And it never shows anything. Because I can see what the engineers would be saying. For it there to be an electrical fault here, it must have come from somewhere else.
Yes.
I mean,
So they've done the traceability.
yeah,
and
if
they've
you're
seen
looking
that-
and saying the system was stable and the system stability is recorded. If you look at our data here, everything here is stable at this point. There's nothing that is showing that there was something unstable, maybe over voltage, under voltage that could then cause something. So what is the issue?
You know,
This thing of always everything time in the Konga,
Eric, this is a
ilikuwa
very
electrical
topic.
fault.
The can is being kicked down the road here. Look, There's an entire list of why schools can't handle fire. This is in the Star. They say no firefighting equipment, no evacuation maps, no fire assembly points, inadequate accommodation spaces, poor coordination for response, inadequate training, non-compliance with safety standards, doors opening inwards, windows fitted with metal grills, no doors at each end of the dormitory, narrow doorways, death trap, in short.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yet there is a department in the Ministry of Education whose job is to ensure that when you put up classrooms and dormitories, you adhere to certain. This thing. There's an article here that says school heads should be prosecuted. They must.
They should be.
They must. But arrest everybody in that department in the Ministry of Education. Everyone.
Yep.
I'm sorry, but something about this school tragedy, we're not being told. We're not being told the full story. Somebody knows something, and they're not telling us what happened. This whole thing of children missing, I'm sorry, 6 days later, if there were children missing and nobody can find them, they would have turned up somewhere, on the side of the road, in somebody's house, sitting outside somebody's shop. Somebody would have known something. The cause of the fire, by now, should have been found. I prefer that it has been found. We are not being told what it was. Because you know what it's going to do? It's going to show bare the inadequacies of a system, and that thing that you're talking about, people do not want to get themselves stuck in that trap. I think people know exactly what happened, but because we don't revere human life, we don't revere those anymore, our values have sunken to the lowest of the lows, we don't think it's important to share the truth about what really happened. But then I also dare say that the truth, no matter how long or how hard you try to hide it, it will come out. The lives of those children lost will be justified. They will be atoned for. It's up to you. How long you're going to take to tell us what happened? It'll come out.
Eldoret, the former CS for ICT, is now in charge of Scorecard. He's the Deputy Chief of Staff, Performance Delivery Management in State House. Okay? No sooner had he begun this job than he compiled a list of what this administration has achieved over the last 2 years: enhanced agricultural production, job, revenue increases, and better healthcare are President Ruto's major achievements, according to a report released by Eliud Owalo. A scorecard of his bottom-up economic transformation agenda pillars highlights leaps in agriculture, leaps in health, in housing, in MSMEs, in digital and creative economy sectors. According to this report, 103,000 houses have been constructed through the Affordable Housing Project, with more than 50 billion disbursed through the Hustler Fund initiative. The scorecard compiled by the Deputy Chief of Staff, Eliud Owalo, comes in the wake of youth-led protests. It also comes ahead of a planned signing of performance contracts for the new CSAs. On agriculture, the President touts the reduction in the cost of farm inputs, increasing farmers' incomes, creating jobs in the sector, as well as improving agriculture productivity and value addition. Similarly, it touts the registration of 6 million farmers, which the scorecard argues enhanced the distribution of fertilizer. Okay? The government has raised the guaranteed minimum price for milk from 37 bob to 50 bob per litre. On MSMEs, the report touts Ruto's Hustler Fund and the refurbishment and equipment of common user facilities and industrial parks as key achievements. 50 billion shillings disbursed in Hustler Fund, 21%.
As he's giving this information as the who?
He is the guy in charge of performance delivery management.
Yeah.
Remember, he's given advisor job.
I remember now. I remember.
He's
So
saying,
all those things have been done.
my friend,
Hallelujah.
my friend, those are many houses that have been constructed. Okay? 100,000 houses.
Houses.
Yes. Okay?
It's good.
In the last 2 years.
Okay.
Are they occupied? That's another story, but we don't ask.
Why are
this
you
question.
bringing
See,
problems?
the houses have
The
been
houses
constructed.
have been constructed.
Yeah. Where are they?
Kenya.
See, in Kenya, and they're all over the country.
Kenya. What's
Why
Oh,
you think it's
countrywide.
just in one place?
It's all over countrywide.
It's countrywide.
Okay.
It's country.
Yes.
Kenya.
And if you look carefully, you will see them.
Oh, so
Can't be here asking where is the house. You go and
go
see.
out there,
Hey.
seek ye, and ye shall
You
find.
find.
7 a.m. news time.
Your life.
Good morning, this is the Newswire. I'm Lau. Ubaga. Long-distance trailer drivers have expressed fear following the increase in insecurity on the Kisumu-Busia highway and the Eldoret-Malaba highway, where the drivers are being attacked and robbed day and night while queuing. Speaking in Malaba, the drivers, led by their chairman Peter Tanui, have blamed this on the long traffic lines that they have to stay on as they wait at the customs station.
Na kunyang'anywa mali yao ambao ni masimu, pesa. Kuna madereva matangi wananyang'anywa vitu zinaitwa dipstick. Ni pesa mingi sana, ambapo unapata dereva anaenda kukatwa kwa kampuni. Na kingine kabisa kubwa ambapo inatuletea shida ni kwamba kumekuwa na wizi wa mulika mwizi, KRA gadgets. Au comes saa zile unatembea barabara inakuwa monitored, but once ikiibiwa signal hakuna, dereva hawezi chukua kitu na inakuwa monitored. Once ikipotea yeye ndo anakuwa liable. I mean, why? Hiyo ni kitu haieleweki.
In addition, they say that they have given South Sudan a deadline of 14 days to address the problem of road safety. Otherwise, they'll boycott the export of goods to the country.
Akachukua spare, tulikuwa naye spare viatu vyangu na mfuko, na wale venye nilikuja sasa nikaona huyu anatoa mfuko kurudi, wakanishika mfuko, nilikuwa na $50,000 wakachukua zote. Sasa wajua hapa hakuna nani atakutetea.
DRC utovu wa usalama umekithiri.
As we speak now, kuna mwanadada ajewahi rudi, alienda na tanga akatekwa nyara huko. Our embassies hakuna kitu wanasaidia dereva. Dereva kila wakati anahangaishwa pale, lakini embassy yetu imenyamaza.
A certain mzee who is hailing from that side of Eldoret aliweza kuuliwa katika mahali ambayo inaitwa Mundri towards Juba.
Long queues were last night witnessed at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport as aviation workers formally downed their tools. The strike follows a notice issued by the Kenya Aviation Workers Union on August 12th in which they opposed the proposed listing of JKIA, Kenya's flagship airport, to Indian Adani Group. CAU's Secretary General Moses Ndiema cited fears that the JKIA Adani deal would lead to mass layoffs, the introduction of foreign workers, as well as inferior working conditions. The aviation workers also called for the resignation of the Kenya Airports Authority Board of Directors and 3 senior managers, accusing them of incompetence and mishandling the deal. They further demanded the resignation of 2 Kenya Airways security managers, citing gross misconduct, including allegations of human trafficking, sexual harassment, and unfair promotion within the department. The hearing sessions on the 2024 finance bill will be completed today, as various parties are scheduled to present their arguments before the Supreme Court as the government makes every effort to achieve the validity of the bill. The government began efforts yesterday to defend the bill, which it was forced to use after President William Ruto completely removed the 2024 finance bill. The Court of Appeal declared the 2023 finance bill illegal on July 31st, saying it did not take into account the views of Kenyans and various sectors. However, the government, through its lawyers representing the Minister of Finance, the Head of Legal Affairs and Speaker of the National Assembly and KRA, said it held enough meetings and considered the views of Kenyans before the bill was passed in Parliament.
That the Court of Appeal's decisions to deem the issue surrounding the interpretation of Section 84 as moot effectively dismissed the constitutional issues raised without adequately addressing their continuing relevance and their potential impact.
During the sessions, the National Assembly, through its lawyer Issa Mansour, said that the rules of Parliament to allow the parliamentarians to amend any bill in the joint committee stage without involving public opinion is not allowed.
The Court of Appeal did not consider the evidence tendered by the National Assembly through the clerk and the Speaker of the National Assembly on what was the outcome of the public participation.
That's the News Wire. I'm Leah Obaga.
SpiceFM, Nakuru.
All right, the sun is coming up, and let's take a look at what's happening on the streets with traffic this morning. It's starting to look a little bit busy on the Thika Superhighway, and that's coming into the CBD. It doesn't look too bad at this point, so just keeping an eye on all of this. Let's take a quick look at Jogo Road, where there's traffic coming in from Makadara out towards Landis. Landis, at that little nook that leads you towards Kamkunji at the roundabout, is a bit busy. The Thika Superhighway, yes, it has started to pack up nicely. So there's traffic coming in from Garden City through and through towards the junction between Muranga Road and Wangari Maathai Way. There's also traffic on Kiambu Road. It's coming in from the northern bypass. It's coming in steady. And also on Limuru Road, we're going to see that build up later. Folks have decided we'll wake up late. Traffic will start to trickle in here around 8:30. James Gishiro in and outbound is busy, as it is on Waiaki Way. Ooh, quite some traffic getting onto Waiaki Way from the address. So we're going to keep an eye on all of that. It's busy on Gong Road, busy on Gitanga Road. Let's talk SpiceFM KE on X hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7:07. Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation. This is The Situation Room. Wherever you are across the globe, karibu sana to the show. It's the second hour of the show on SpiceFM, on KTN, on YouTube, and Facebook, and TikTok, and X. And we understand there's some issues on Radio Garden. They're getting sorted, and we'll address those immediately. It's the final day of the 3 days of national mourning declared by President William Ruto following the tragedy at Hillside Academy in Russia, and we continue to mourn and send our condolences to the families of those that died in that fire and those that were injured, and basically the entire school community. It's horror that visited those children, and we feel it for them. Ndu?
Yes.
Why wait when you can loop?
Why wait when you can loop? So you can imagine the best of both worlds. Mobile banking.
Like...
mobile, getting everything on your phone, and the banking world where you need to move money from one place to another.
Yes.
You need to transact, you need to pay your bills, you need to buy as a consumer, or you need to sell as a merchant. So you can imagine the world where all of this is looped, and that's what Loop by NCBA offers you today. Through and through, you can get a service which allows you to pay your bills at the click of a button, literally, and all you need to do is download the Loop app on your Google Play Store or Apple App Store, and you can get all of this stuff at your fingertips today. You can get fantastic things as well, where you can get an overdraft up to 100,000 shillings. You can get personal loans, 3 million shillings, and you can do all of this from the comfort of your mobile phone. Just because you did what?
Just because you downloaded and you signed up and you're looping. Loop. It's simple. Just go to the Play Store and App Store.
Yep.
I've actually done it, and the process is very, very straightforward.
It's doing like that?
Yes. Oja kidogo. By the time tumaliza hii show, nitakuwa nimechukua loan.
Bas. Afu tuende tununua ice cream.
Tutakula a town. Okay. City, there's the issue of impunity that you talked about that is covered in the Star today. And ICJ Kenya is saying, you know what, this could happen, and this could embolden other officers. So we want to talk about that. The Acting Inspector General of Police, Gilbert Masengeli, did not appear in court as summoned by court. Not once, not twice, not 3 times. And now the courts are like, now, tumefika mahali. And one of the people who has been very vocal about this is Nelson Havi. He is the former president of the Law Society of Kenya, or he likes to say the 49th president of the Law Society of Kenya. He's our guest this morning. Nelson, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning to you. How are you doing?
I'm good.
Naona umevaa kijenerali.
Well, I'd taken retirement having served for almost 21 years in active combat. But the current situation demands that I don the uniform and come and fight these atrocities. I'm now back.
So explain this uniform.
Yes.
Tell us what's the inspiration behind the uniform?
This is the struggle by Fidel Castro, a distinguished lawyer, a distinguished communist, and a man who changed the world. We follow after him.
All right. Seti.
Now here's the point. Che Guevara also used to don on.
Same.
Same. The only thing that Honorable Comrade here now needs is a beret.
Bas.
I have a beret, but it tends to interfere with my silver
With the
hair.
hairdo.
Yes.
All right.
My hair
Okay.
is a trademark.
Okay.
But when I tried it in the morning, I said no.
He wants a silver too. People must
Enough
see the
said,
silver.
but no. I apologize for having brought in the
Then you can do the thing that they do, fold a beret and then put it here.
There's that little detail.
Yeah, that's not. So people can still see.
That's for soldiers who are in active combat.
Like you.
But you just said you've come back.
I'm retired, but I've come back.
Okay.
As a constabulary.
Oh.
Yeah.
Officer Mzee.
Sawa. City?
Yes.
Give him the day's proverb.
Well, our proverbs for the whole of this week are from the Federal Republic of Somalia. This particular proverb is something I actually like. I like it because it puzzles me. And it makes my mind go in all manner of directions. These youth taught their mothers to give birth.
These youth taught their mothers to give birth. The end. That's it.
Kwesa.
That's the proverb.
Kwesa.
Does that sound like a proverb to you, Nelson?
Yes, it sounds like Andumakuwele proverb. Because if the youth are teaching their mothers to give birth. Well, intriguingly so. So the first time you do it, then you continue doing it. So that is the teaching. Entirely true.
So what does it mean? What are they saying, the Somalis? Do it once, you learn. Do it again,
yes,
you get
continuously. That's why Somalis have so many children. The mothers have been taught by their children to give birth.
By the way, is that not an interesting twist? I hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
When you give birth to a child, that process is what teaches you how you can then have more children.
Exactly.
See, I was always, what puzzled me was the view, how does a child teach their mother how to give birth?
Yes.
How? Shouldn't it be the other way around?
The other way around.
Yeah, but when you put it that way, yes.
You learn, gain more and more experience.
That's why we have silver hair.
Excellent.
Nelson, you are not happy with the Acting Inspector General of Police.
I'm disappointed not just with the Inspector General of National Police Service, but the entire administration. Because you see, the Inspector General of National Police Service is first a servant of the people. And who are the people? We are the people. We elect a government at the executive level, and that we expect the government at the executive level to implement the laws and the policies of this country. And at the legislature, we expect parliamentarians to oversight the executive. How did we end up with somebody like Gilbert Masengeli as Acting Inspector General of the National Police Service? An individual who is clueless, got no idea what his job description is, cannot prioritize key assignments that are significant to his office. But over and above that, the question lingers, which must be asked. Is there a deliberate attempt to have individuals in office who do not have the wherewithal, the competence and ability to do their work, so that the entire office is compromised, the entire nation is compromised? This is quite saddening. It is not just limited to that office. It appears to be, there are many other offices in Kenya that have people who do not know what their work is. Why? Is it deliberate? It is catastrophic. And coming back to this issue of Masengeli, we have 3 Kenyans who have been disappeared. And when asked to come to court to explain their whereabouts or any efforts taken by the state to trace them, he says he's otherwise engaged in matters of great national importance. And when you interrogate the matters of great national importance, they are showbiz. He's attending a concert. He's going to inspect a project in Kwale. It's saddening. It's saddening, and this must sadden Kenyans.
It's not the first time that we're seeing a police boss disobeying court summonses. Even in the previous administration, we saw the same.
Yes.
Not once when the IG of police or the DCI boss would not appear in court. Not once. In fact, the former DCI boss was even committed to jail, right?
Yes, you're right.
So this is something that has continued. What does it speak of? Does it speak of a weak accountability mechanism at the highest levels of the police service? Who does the IG report to? Does it report to the commission, or does it report to the cabinet secretary or to the president? Who's the immediate supervisor of the IG of police, independent as he may be?
The National Police Service is the employer of the Inspector General of the National Police. But as I said before, this is a state office. Whoever takes that office swears to uphold the Constitution. And much as there's a hierarchy of responsibilities and reporting, it does not derogate from the command that he holds a state office.
Yeah.
So let's go up. The Inspector General of National Police will report to the PS Interior, will report to the CS Interior, and will eventually report to the President.
Yep.
The buck stops with the President. That is a direct answer, if I may give you. But let's go back again and interrogate this thing. Because when I started, I said there could be a deliberate attempt to have individuals who do not know what their work is. And you spoke about certain senior police officers who were found to have contravened the Constitution, disobeyed court orders. You may have failed to notice that one of those was Joseph Boynet, the former Inspector General of the National Police Service.
Yep.
Have you seen him lately? You haven't seen him? He is actively involved in the work of the National Police Service. We do not know what his role is, but we see
And
him.
why he's so present?
He's always present in meetings of the National Police Service.
Who?
Joseph Boynet, the former
IG.
Yes. So we have incompetent fellows, faceless characters like Gilbert Masengeli. But behind them, we still have the Boynets who have perpetuated these violations for a long period of time. And as we speak...
There were two Boynets. Which one?
Boynet,
IG.
the immediate former Inspector General of the National Police Service, the one who preceded...
Not the intelligence guy. Just come closer.
Yeah.
Yes.
The one who preceded...
The guy who always seemed to have an ill-fitting hat.
Oh, okay.
No.
We could go with that.
That's Mr. Siege, not the one with the ill-fitting hat. Oh, the diminutive policeman.
Yes, that was Boynet, was he not?
Yes, that's Boynet, Joseph Boynet.
Yes.
Yeah. Immediately before Hillary...
You always got the impression that he had borrowed that hat
Hillary.
from someone, and then it wasn't fitting very well, yes.
Yeah.
What would that portend, though, Havi? If we're saying that it would appear as though the immediate former IG of police is present in present dealings of the NPS. What would that mean, and how would that then influence or affect the current state of things that we are seeing today?
It means two things. The disregard of the rule of law, because what office does he hold? In the police service, they are designated officers. You understand? There is a probability that he's an advisor. Officers that courts have said have no basis in the current dispensation. But more importantly, these are the minds behind what is happening. And I believe if Gilbert Masengeli was to come to court, the most logical answer he will say that he doesn't know what is happening. Because what is happening from behind.
Okay.
And we're able to trace what is happening to certain individuals.
Okay.
And I believe Joseph Boynet is one of them.
So where we are today is that the acting Inspector General of Police has been summoned by court.
Yes.
And failed to appear a total of 7 times, right? And the answers that are being sought from him are essentially the whereabouts or the details surrounding the disappearance of these individuals. Yes. Where did they go? Who took them? What has happened to them? Are they alive? If they're dead, whose fault was it? Kind of thing. He's failed to appear before court. From a legal point of view, one would assume that it doesn't matter who you are or what position you hold in Kenya, that if the court then summons you to come and give an explanation, that you're duty-bound to do so. Is it not?
Yes, you're right.
Okay. What does it mean then when an individual, in whatever capacity they serve, then refuses to appear for a record 7 times? What does that mean from your point of view?
Well, the starting point, and from my legal perspective, this is contempt of court. It's disobedience of a court order. The disobedience of a court order is a transgression that requires the highest sanction, punishment. But over and above punishment, it requires greater reorganization in the manner things are done. And it has been my harp song that the people of Kenya, either directly or through their representatives, being Parliament, must take deliberate steps to ensure that those who disobey court orders, those who do not uphold the Constitution, are dealt with. And I say so advisedly, because the court has performed its role. Take, for instance, what has happened to previous disobedience of court orders, where the court declares that one has violated the Constitution, he or she will be fined. What ought to follow next is the removal from office of such an individual. And then when that individual has been removed from the office, he or she needs to be declared unsuitable to hold any public office, elective or appointive. But what happens? We see these people, as soon as declarations are made, they go home and hold homecoming. In fact, it's only in Kenya that criminals hold homecoming parties. And then after they've held their homecoming parties, they declare they want to run for member of National Assembly, they want to run for Senate, they want to run for governor, and even certain fellows declare that they want to run for president. And then people will cheer.
I want to hold you on that just a little bit, because we know what the law prescribes, we know what is suggested, and we know what should actually hold fast according to the Constitution. But there do seem to be suggestions that it's just, something that's a puff of smoke in the air, it's inhaled and then it's gone like morning mist at noon. We know, he's not the first one, for example, that sits in a position that heads a security agency who's been called and summoned by court and has failed to show up. Former DCI boss, the same thing, and I think that the sentence that was preferred upon him was 4 months in jail and something like that.
Yep.
Did he ever serve them? Did he pay a fine? It's a suggestion that if you don't obey court orders, that 1, 2, 3 will be done to you. And then you talk about the relevant bodies then that should actually make sure something is done. Ensure that you do not, or you ensure that you vacate office, ensure that you do not hold a position appointed or elected, ensure that certain things. But these seem to be suggestions that, it's drama at the moment. Friday is in 2 days. What will the court say? Will they sentence Masengeli to time in prison, or will they jail him, or will they fine him? It just seems like it's a joke, and for me it seems like the ultimate travesty of justice, that we just say, okay, it's fanfare and we're watching it play out in the public arena, but nothing is going to be done. So why do we waste the time doing it and still put the responsibility upon Parliament to suggest these moves for the future? Why?
Well, what has happened before has happened. It should inform us on what should happen today and tomorrow. We are very deliberate as the legal fraternity. What we propose to do is on Friday, after Gilbert Masengeli has been sentenced, irrespective of the nature of the sentence, we'll move to have him removed as a senior police officer and as a police officer for that matter. Let him be stripped of the protection that he has in the uniform of a police officer. And after he's been removed, we will take deliberate action to prosecute him personally for the disappearance of these 3. And you see, as we speak right now, we do not know their whereabouts. We do not know whether they are alive or dead. But you see, the right to life given under the Constitution must be given full effect, so that after we have stripped him, we will sue him personally. Let us have reprieve against him so that we can have him as a lasting example to the rest. And that is the only way to remedy the past conduct, where court orders have been treated, in your words, as suggestions. It should not be repeated.
So you feel that this will serve as a deterrent?
Yes.
But then let's go through that process, that you seek to have him removed from serving as a police officer.
Yes.
At all, to be fired. Mm-hmm. So who do you make this application to?
He was hired by the National Police Service.
Okay. So the petition is to the National Police Service.
Yes.
To dismiss Senior Officer Gilbert Masengeli. Yes. What would the process look like?
It's never been done before, but the fact that it's never been done for...
What do you anticipate?
Does not
is there a procedure laid in law?
We'll originate a petition, yes, for gross misconduct and violation of the Constitution.
I hear you, and I get what you're saying. What I'm trying to bring here is it likely to bear fruit? And what are the safeguards that you have in place to make sure that this process actually moves? Because you see, we have 7 court summonses not honored by an Inspector General of Police. He is not the first one. All Inspector Generals of Police have not honored court summonses. All of them since the first time we had an IG of Police after the new Constitution. There have been a court summons, not appeared maybe later, not appeared the next time, appeared another time with an explanation, or so on and so forth. DCIs have also done the same. Committed to jail, not gone to jail, not arrested. Senior officers have disobeyed court orders. Not happened. The National Police Service, which is their employer, has never taken action against any of these officers.
Eric Latiff, you say...
What are the safeguards that you
of the few
want to put in
determined
place?
Kenyans, I'm one person who has removed a judge from office. I commenced the removal of a director of public prosecution from office. He had to resign before I removed him. So when I say I've embarked this horse to that direction, the horse will verily reach there. I do not know what tomorrow comes with, but I know my determination to push this thing is a serious determination. It doesn't matter that it doesn't happen before. It will happen. Masengeli will never hold public office, elective or appointive, for as long as we are determined to do this thing. And we must do this. We must put away the reservations that have prevailed hitherto. Because it's a serious matter. It's a serious matter because we have 3 Kenyans, innocent Kenyans, who have been disappeared in a dispensation that said there will be no more abductions, there will be no more kidnappings, there will be no more extrajudicial killings, there will be no more enforced disappearances. In a dispensation that tells us we are not aware of any individuals who have been disappeared. We are not aware of any individuals who have been kidnapped, killed. Yet, we have about 250 bodies at the city mortuary unaccounted for. Doesn't it accrue? Yeah, it should. And the very fact that we have 250 unaccounted for bodies must tell you that the claim that there have been abductions, kidnappings, extrajudicial killings, and enforced disappearances is a valid claim. And it must be pursued to the very end.
You know, what you say is encouraging, it is uplifting, but what we are talking about here does not exist in a vacuum. We have an ecosystem that has been created in this country and has been enhanced since this government came into being, where it appears that the likelihood of anything happening to someone who has blatantly broken the law or who has even been found guilty by a court, that the laws that state, or the details of the law that state what will happen to such an individual are completely ignored. The ecosystem is what I'm referring to here, not the individual. This individual can perpetrate the law. He can do what he's doing because the ecosystem permits it. He knows. He believes he knows. He understands that nothing will happen to him because the ecosystem permits it. How do you explain a situation where someone is a member of parliament, he is found guilty, sentenced. There's an appeal. We had the Chief Justice sitting there, and I asked this question. I said, Madam Chief Justice, I need to understand. If I am found guilty today and have appealed, am I guilty or is that guilt suspended? Her response was, you are guilty until proved otherwise. That was her response. You find individuals serving in parliament, and that is hanging over their heads. You have individuals whose cases were dropped after they'd been appointed to high offices in this country. But at the time of appointment, they had this word hanging over their heads. People who by our laws should never, ever have even approached those offices. But they held those offices. Some still hold those offices. Very sensitive offices. It's an ecosystem. And that ecosystem exists. And that ecosystem fosters what we are seeing. Because in the absence of that ecosystem, I doubt if Mr. Masengeli, because this man is an educated fellow. He is not just your run-of-the-mill policeman who didn't quite finish school and had to be found something to do. No. This gentleman has actually gone to school. He's even currently pursuing a PhD. So in terms of book learning and academic, he is not an uninformed fellow. So I have to ask, what is it that would make a person be so bold? So bold? It is the ecosystem. He is not the problem, he is the symptom.
Okay. Yes, Elder, you've aptly depicted the picture. I'll give you an analogy, then proceed to discuss the issue. There is a zebra that has been attacked by a lion, put down. And ordinarily in the ecosystem of the zebras, they don't do anything. In fact, they will run away, or if they come close, they will display their helplessness. There is a clip of a zebra that decided to bite the lion. Unorthodox. And you see, until then, the lion was very comfortable because it knew the zebras will not do anything. The lion took off and left the zebra. You understand? So we are in this ecosystem of helplessness. But are we helpless? We are not helpless.
No, we are not helpless.
So we must seize the power that is within our ability to utilize and act. And that is why I've said the people directly. And the people have done this before. The power of arrest. The people have the power to arrest Gilbert Masengeli wheresoever found and bring him to court. Or if a sentence has already been meted on him, take him to
prison.
Look, we do not want to fall back and apply medieval tactics. But human beings have lived in times where the citizens have executed kings, presidents, emperors. It has happened. We have lived in times where the people have arrested the kings and the presidents and tried them in the public square and jailed them. It's because those people understood there is need to deal with what Elder calls the ecosystem. We must deal with the ecosystem now.
Very good.
And the starting point is Gilbert Masengeli.
Let's take a break. 26 minutes to 8. Nelson Havi, the 49th president of the Law Society of Kenya, is our guest. He's among those that have gone to court and have said, Your Honor, this man deserves severe punishment for disobeying court orders. Who's the man? The Acting Inspector General of Police, Gilbert Masengeli. And so we invited him today to talk about this impunity that's in the system and how to deal with it. We'll be back shortly. Good morning.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Kenyans abroad, sending money home should be simple and stress-free. Stay connected back home. Open your Credit Bank Nyumbani Diaspora account today by visiting www.creditbank.co.ke. Just a few clicks and you're all set to send love and support back to your loved ones. And that's not all. Explore a world of possibilities, including investment opportunities. It's fast, easy, and secure, bringing you closer to the moments that matter most. Visit creditbank.co.ke or call +254 70 907 2000 to learn more. Credit Bank is regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya.
The weather with SpiceFM.
It's a sunny morning in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 26 and lows of 13. 13 will also be the low in a partly cloudy Nakuru, going to highs of 27. And we'll see highs of 25 in a mostly cloudy Nyeri at 13. It's partly cloudy at 12 in Eldoret, highs of 24. And Mombasa, sunny today at 22 with highs of 28. And we'll see highs of 29 in a partly sunny Malindi at 23. 19 and cloudy in Kisumu with highs of 31. And it's partly cloudy at 17 in Kakamega, going to highs of 30. Kampala's cloudy at 18 with highs of 29, and Dar es Salaam at 24, partly cloudy with highs of 30. 11 degrees and cloudy in Johannesburg with highs of 24, and at 26 is partly sunny in Mogadishu with highs of 30. 12 degrees sunny in Addis Ababa with highs of 20, and it's 26 and cloudy in Lagos with highs of 29 and highs of 32, and a partly cloudy Kinshasa at 23.
Spice and everything nice. Spice FM.
Spice up your life.
All right, we're stepping into traffic hour and things are already looking crazy in most parts of the city today. Look at traffic coming off of Ngong Road, coming in from Naivasha Road, and we're going to see some of that going to the city, and then towards Gitanga Road. Coming off of Kingara Road through into Lavington, Mzima Springs, in and outbound traffic over that drift is very, very busy. And Wayaki Way is one for the books today, inbound to the city, bumper to bumper, and another bumper for good measure. On the Red Hill Link Road, traffic there, Lower Kabete leading towards Spring Valley, very busy, as is Ring Road Westlands. We're looking at traffic coming in from the Thika Superhighway through towards Muranga Road and onto the Globe Cinema roundabout. So how about we look for where there's no traffic? Because everywhere today, there is. Let's keep an eye on things. Talk to us about where you find a good route. Let's talk SpiceFM, KE, on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
23 minutes to 8. So Nelson Havi believes that using this one case to serve as an example will also serve as a big deterrent. It's like City was saying, it's a systemic issue. We have had the IGs of police who have disobeyed court orders. We have seen government officials disobeying court orders. We have seen so many of these cases going on. And those that they respond to, that they answer to, the immediate supervisors, the Police Service Commission, the PS and CS and the President, like you've said, have never taken action against any of the other officers previously. When Kinoti was sentenced to serve 4 months in prison, not even the President spoke or said anything about it. Here we have an Inspector General of Police who has not appeared in court 7 times in an administration where the words that are said by the head of the administration, the President, are that we are an administration that obeys law and order. But a senior member of the institution that is supposed to enforce law and order is disobeying law and order. It doesn't happen. How do we deal with the system? Even if you use Masengeli as a case study.
Latiff, the system is broken. And from the example that we used, we just need a few of us to effectuate the repair of the system. You know, when we speak here, people think that we speak in a case of isolation. A senior police officer has just reminded me right now that we have a designated Inspector General of National Police Service who is 60 years old, yet the retirement age for public servant and a police officer for that matter, 60 years old. And this Kanja was appointed by the president with advice of the National Police Service. And I don't think these people are gullible. As Elder said, they are well-learned. Everybody in the list that I've enumerated. And then Parliament has approved the appointment of Kanja. It is what is called turning logic over its head. And however much we may not want to perceive this issue in the manner in which we are depicting it here, the four of us, that is the reality of the matter.
Yep.
The problem rests with three individuals. One, we the people. Because I know we the people will hold a homecoming for Kanja after he takes oath of office as Inspector General of National Police, knowing very well that he's unqualified for appointment. Two, the executive and the president for that matter. And the president is a very learned person, is my good friend. How does he make such a catastrophic mistake? And then third, the parliament, we, the people represented, approve this. Yet it is the mandate of we, the people represented in parliament, to oversight the executive. There is something wrong. Solution? We must start afresh. And starting afresh entails recreating the representation, that is parliament, so that we have a parliament that is competent, capable, and able to do that we, the people, have given it to do in a representative capacity. Because there's been failure. And I'll be very deliberate and honest. There is no chief executive of any country, however democratic that country is, will want to obey the law. All presidents worldwide do not obey the law. Richard Nixon, a distinguished lawyer himself, when asked by his Attorney General, Mr. President, what shall we do about Watergate? Said, but Bob, I thought the president was above the law. They always think they are above the law. And you see, this is how they are oriented. But it's incumbent upon Parliament and the judiciary to do its work. And fundamentally, the people. Insofar as the obedience of court orders is concerned, upholding the Constitution, the judiciary has done a fundamental job. It has executed its mandate to fruition. What is outstanding rests with two corners. One is Parliament, and two, the people.
I think the question,
the four of us.
Yeah, I think the question of the how then comes into play here, because I think that's really then what before there's a lot of thought later that you say, okay, yes, we see that there's something wrong here, and we see that it is clearly not to the satisfaction of the people. But then you want to ask yourself, how do we go about it? And that people without options in terms of the know-how then become sometimes a restless bunch. Because you know that you're dissatisfied with the status quo. You know that something needs to be done about it. But they're not sure. Do we coalesce and say, okay, let's do, what do you do? Do you march the Vigilance House? What do you do? Do you put a petition through to the courts? The how usually comes out and people say, okay, so what do we do? That action that would essentially set precedent for the future, taking that first step is a difficult one, because you're not quite sure what it is that ought to happen.
We learn best from animals. So the example I gave you. The zebras outmaneuvered the lion in a precedent-setting encounter. But again, the lion will still come, because this does not happen all the time.
And he must eat.
Yeah. Look at what happened on the 25th of June, when the people occupied Parliament. The government was subdued. The president came out in rage just to realize the following day that the people have power, and he had to back off and reject the finance bill. But what did he do? Exactly what the lion will do. Lay siege, connivingly, and attack. How was it done? Government, broad-based government. Okay, disperse them, pick a few of them, bring them together. Then the people forget.
Yeah.
The very same people who were complaining were attending the homecomings for these rascals who had been appointed as cabinet secretaries. How? So, eternal vigilance is the key word. You must remember that this contract that is called government, the contract between the people and the governors, there must be eternal vigilance. And going back to this issue of Masengeli, we must not let it go the way of Boynet, the way of Kinoti, and the way of Matiang'i. We must pursue it to completion. And this cannot be the pursuit of the Law Society of Kenya alone. It cannot be the pursuit of Nelson Havi. It cannot be the pursuit of President Faith Odhiambo alone. It must concern all of us. Because all of us are vulnerable. And to ensure that Kenya continues being a constitutional democracy that we created through the 2010 Constitution, we must hold these individuals account. We must deal with Masengeli, we must deal with the PS Interior, we must deal with the CS Interior, and if need be, we must deal with the President. Because he is the one who took oath of office to protect the Constitution, to protect the people of Kenya.
There's something that often happens. I've mentioned it before and I want to repeat it. It is an aspect of psychological conditioning that was made known by someone called Pavlov.
The Russian.
Yes. How it is you can create a habit born out of repetition. So the mind and the brain anticipates it. The ecosystem I spoke of, and why someone like Masengeli is merely a tool. He is not really a big fish. When you are in a position where you are given orders, and it is clear it must be a very high authority, and it isn't one individual, it's several individuals, the ecosystem I speak of, someone is emboldened beyond reason. You wonder, why is this person so bold? Why is it that they don't seem to care? Why is it that they think they can get away with it? Actually, they don't think they know. Now, so long as we have a situation where people in political authority use the police service and individuals within the police service to serve their end, I do not think there's anybody who is more aware of the wrongs than somebody who is a police person. They know. They are acutely aware of what is wrong. Even when they perpetrate it, they know it is wrong. Now, when you've created a system where each of these groups feed off each other, they form a cabal that is very, very tight. And part of what the glue that binds them is the fact that they all know that they've perpetrated wrong.
Yes.
And you will find that they also have individuals whom they co-opt probably within the judiciary for this thing to work effectively. So here you have a situation where we can see where the problem is. But where it all starts is the knowledge that if somebody gives you instructions and you know that what you're being told is wrong, that person is your partner in crime and you know it. They know it, you know it. So that person's motivation to protect this person is immense. Because should someone like Gilbert Masengeli decide, no, him is actually going to court and is going to say what he knows, can you imagine what would happen? Can you imagine just the sort of seismic activity that we'd suddenly see? Do you remember when the late Dr. Robert Okoh was killed?
Yes.
And the then Permanent Secretary for Interior, decided that him is going to spill the beans. That court process was completely aborted, was it not?
You're right. They even killed the judge.
Oyugi himself didn't live very long after that. Yes. The point I'm trying to make is this. It was unprecedented. He would know. That was not something that the state was going to allow to happen. Okay? What we are seeing is a tip of the iceberg. Somebody who's been in the police service for 35 years and even worked in special units. How much do you think this guy knows?
A lot.
Precisely.
And Elder, picking from where you've just left, it is imperative that we underscore the need for a few people to do the right thing.
Yes.
And one of the few people, because you said the co-opting entails many other players, including even players in the judiciary.
Yes.
That's why Justice Lawrence Mugambi was bold enough to tell us in court that there was an attempt to reach him by Lazarus Opicho, a senior police officer tasked previously with the protection of judges. You understand? And this is very intriguing and it's very relevant because they wanted to co-opt Lawrence Mugambi in their enterprise, either to entice him to see the need not to compel Gilbert Masengeli to comply with the court order, or to coerce and threaten him to draw back. You understand? But the judge was bold enough to say, no, these attempts will not yield fruit. And for that reason, I order you, Lazarus Opicho, to appear before me on Friday to show why you are interfering with the course of justice. One judge is all that we need to do this thing right. One policeman is all that we need to do this thing right. One Kenyan, one member of the National Assembly. You know, during Moi's time, where did these four individuals, I've talked about them, the four bearded sisters, and they dared Moi. They spoke. Unheard of, because they knew the logical consequence of daring Moi, you will find yourself on a table at City Mortuary. But because they knew they had to do it for the people of Kenya, they did it. Why is it that now we have a transformative constitution, the very best protection, and these people in parliament don't do nothing? You get it? There is a problem. One person, 2, 3, 4 are enough. You don't need a multitude, a few.
When you've been enticed and you've been captured by the very glue that holds these people together, we have a parliament that has long been established, was captured. It's not even...
It's effeminate. It's been emasculated.
It's something that is not even subject to debate. No. If we say effeminate, we'll be insulting.
Oh, sorry. It's been emasculated.
Yes. Say that. What they do is in the public domain, we see it. And if there is a group of people who are compromised, it's them. In fact, they've introduced new levels of compromise. Because you make decisions that not disempowers, but helps to destroy the lives of the very people who put you in those positions.
Exactly.
The people who you're supposed to represent.
You break the trust of the people.
Yes, exactly. So when you see all this connectivity, the very discussion we're having here would not take place if Parliament was doing what they're supposed to do.
Yes.
Because some of these individuals would not have the jobs they have.
Indeed.
Who compels Parliament, even looking from a legal point of view? Who compels Parliament to essentially do what it's supposed to do?
We the people. On the 25th of June, we did it. You understand? But we withdrew because we forgot that our power can outmaneuver the lion. But permit me to continue using this example. A lion cannot defeat 20 zebras. It's as simple as that. It's only that the zebras are conditioned to think that the lion is superior. We, the people, can never be inferior because we designated and constituted the state. The state is our delegate. So the state must always do what the people want. But it will not do that unless the people are eternally vigilant.
What I find tragic, though, is that this became very apparent in President Uhuru's time because of a certain duality of perspective. On the one hand, when a political leadership, have a people who are patient and seem to give you time, you take them for granted and you think you can meet all manner of injustices on that particular people.
Yes.
But on the other hand, we saw with President Uhuru, when you have a president who seems patient and can absorb insult and can take disrespect, you suddenly think this particular president is weak. Now, this conditioning that we speak of, that is why I brought in Pavlov, because we seem to have allowed ourselves to be conditioned thus. Conditioning takes place when someone sees benefit. or when one assumes there will be benefit coming to you, it works better. Even when you assume there will be harm, yes, it will work because you want to avoid the harm. But in our case, even as we, the sovereign, are who we are, this is something Eric has been saying not for months, for years.
Yeah.
We are complicit. Because we are the ones who embolden these individuals. And we embolden not by what we do, but by our inaction. Because we are inert, it is then assumed that they can continue doing what they do.
What they want.
Yeah. And Elder, you're right. Because you see, the conditioning is intended to instill fear on us. And that famous example you've given also has another aspect to it. How do you react to fear? You either take flight or you fight.
Yep.
So the choice is ours. Do we need to take flight or do we fight? To where shall we take flight to?
Do you
Nowhere. So we must fight.
So, Nelson, do you think that there's a fear that's resident in the hearts and minds of Kenyans to see that there's something that's going wrong, to understand that the role of Parliament is a representative one for you, the people, but to still say that, look, like what is at the heart of this matter that we discussed with Masengeli is that 3 individuals have been disappeared for whatever reason. They may have spoken up, they may have acted, they may have information that somebody doesn't want to get out. So folks would feel that they would find themselves in the same position as the 3 disappeared. And so for that fear, they say, well, you know what? Maybe I'm just going to watch how it plays out and not bite the lion.
Now, look, nobody will get out of this life alive. Huh? So the fear of death is a stupid thing. You will die either way.
Anyway.
Yeah. So for myself, I'm unafraid of the fear of death, be it natural or caused by man. And that must be the propelling cause for anybody determined to fight for the people. You understand? They will kill you anyway if they want to kill you. But let it be that you've done what has to be done. You understand? Look at the Kwara incidents. You understand? The state killed people and dumped them there. Volunteers went there to retrieve the bodies. Fear is being instilled on them.
But Nelson, do we have evidence that...
No, listen, Elder. At my agent stage, to quote Chotara, those concepts do not apply. The state has a responsibility to guarantee your life.
Yes, they do.
Yes. If I'm found dead today, you understand? It is the responsibility of the state. We don't need those shenanigated arguments. And the state has the power. There are cameras everywhere. Police follow us everywhere. Police monitor our phones. They know where we are. So if I disappear for 10 minutes, the police ought to know. It's either the police who have disappeared us or they know where we are. We should not entertain that argument of evidence. No.
Why not?
It is the state. And you must take this concept very seriously. You know, let's start with Jeb Karuki. He disappeared for a few days. The state gave many explanations. But the state had kidnapped him from the Norfolk here. Everybody knows. You understand? Robert Okoh disappeared. The state gave us so many stupid explanations. Robert Okoh had been kidnapped and killed in Nakuru State Lodge. Everybody knows that. So the state should never give us this story that I do not know who has been kidnapped, who has been disappeared, who has been killed. The state knows. And that is why, and to quote the words of Latiff, Masengeli does not want to come to court. Because, you know, I've testified in court type without number. The moment you take that Bible and swear, you will tell the truth. You will verily tell the truth. He doesn't want to come there. He will tell the truth.
Nelson, thank you for joining us today. Time has come to an end. So
I've scared the hell out of you. I'm sorry.
So what we are hearing from you is that Friday we watch out because then Masengeli is supposed to be sentenced, right? And then thereafter, you're saying that you and others in the Law Society of Kenya, you want to commence other proceedings to have him removed from office, from serving as a police officer, and then thereafter take individual action against him. Now, the question would be, you speak to the Kenyans. How can you be supported in this?
Thank you, Eric Latiff. Kenyans ought to support all of us because they have come and taken these three. They will take me, they will take you. We are the ones who constitute the state. Our eternal vigilance is important. The moment we say no, like that single zebra that said no to the lion, and we continuously say no and protect our staff, the lion will always know that 20 zebras will outmaneuver it. We must do it.
Nelson Havi, 49th President of the Law Society of Kenya, has been our guest. Keep it here for more. It's 8 a.m.
Newswire, I'm La Ubaga. A post-mortem exercise on the bodies of 19 students who died at Endarasha Hillside Academy School is set to take place at Narumoro Level 4 Hospital today. The exercise comes at a time that Angeline Wambui, mother of 11-year-old Robinson Theory, a grade 6 pupil at the school, is still in distress 5 days after the inferno that claimed the lives of 21 boys. Wambui's hope hinges on the account of one of her son's classmates who has repeatedly confirmed that Theory was saved alongside him and directed to one of the classrooms at the school before the classmate left with his mother.
Kuna mtoto wa classmate wake alikuwa anasema kwamba walitoka na huyo mtoto na hata wakapewa blanketi pamoja wakajifunikia. Though yule mtoto mamake haishi bali, so mamake alipotokezea akaita mtoto wake, wakaenda na mtoto wake na hawakujua kama wagu wamebaki kwa class gani sababu waliambiwa waingie class 2. Kulingana na venye walituelezea ni kweli, wanasema mahesabu yenye wanasema ni kama ilihesabika, lakini sasa siko sure, bado sijakubali kwamba mtoto wangu ameenda, sababu sasa unapewa information kwamba mtoto tulitoka naye na yule ni classmate wake. Si ati ni mtu ni mtu ati hamjui ama hawasomi.
Wambui has also presented herself for DNA testing, having travelled from Mombasa, where she resides. If her son is found to be among the 19 children whose bodies are at the Narumoro Level 4 morgue when an autopsy is performed on the remains today, Angeline says it will be hard to believe as she was informed that he was among those rescued.
So mtoto wangu sasa alibaki shule, so lakini hatujamuona, hatujasikia information yoyote. So tuko tu hivyo, lakini hata hivyo nilienda jana nikatoa DNA. Sababu tuleba ni sawa tutoe kwa mash kama itamash na mwili yoyote naweza nipa, lakini kama haitamash bado wako glad watajua ni vipi.
Chairman of the Anglican Diocese of Kitale, Thandi Mwaura, has called on the Ministry of Education to reconsider and remove the ban on visiting students at school during third term. Mwaura says many churches own and fund educational institutions and that their leaders should be allowed to visit them to give counseling to students, especially at this time when there are fire tragedies.
Nasikitika wakati Beliu Kipsang anasema kwamba watu hawatakikani kutembelea mashule. Muhula wa 3 mashule ni no go zone. Hayo mambo tuache. Wakati kama huu ambako tumekuwa na mkasa wa moto kule Endarasha na pia tu katika mashule mengine. Shule nyingi ziko sponsored na kanisa. Makanisa yanatakana kukubaliwa kuingia shuleni wakati kama huu. Ningeuliza Wizara ya Elimu, wanafunzi na mashule yatembelewe kupona kutokana na haya majanga ya moto. Ili hilo jambo isije likaendelea kuwadhuru, hata wakaogopa kuwa kwa mabweni na hata wakiona hata moto kidogo labda wanashtuka.
In addition, he has explained the need for strict laws to be put in place to control such tragedies.
Moja ni kwamba wakati mwingi huwa hakuna fedha za kutosha katika mashule kwa kufuatilia ujenzi vile inatakana kuwa. Wakati shule inaanza kuwa ya bweni linaanza kujengwa likiwa ndogo na mambo hayafuatiliwi, na pia wale ambao wanatakana kufuatilia na kuona kwamba kazi inafanyika kama ilivyowekwa katika katiba na policies za Ministry of Education hawafuatilii kutosha. Huwa tu ni wakati jambo limetokea ndio wanakimbia hapa na kule, lakini jambo likirudi chini tena wanarudi kulala na majengo yanaendelea kujengwa ambayo hayafai, especially wakati wa mioto.
That's the Newswire. I'm La Ubaga.
102.5 Spice FM, Kisumu.
Okay, so traffic is crazy this morning. Everywhere you look, you'll find just a little bit of it, and in some cases, a lot of it. Let's look at Juja Road. It's coming in heavy to the city, and it's going to cross over towards Ring Road and Ngara, and then out towards Murang'a Road. Folks who are coming in from the city, from the Thika Superhighway, traffic coming just past that Mathare Junction, heavy then onto Survey. In both directions on Kiambu Road, it's also heavy. Coming off of Wayaki Way, traffic is really crazy, as it is on James Gishoro. Mzima Springs coming in from Kileleshwa and then out towards James Gishoro, very, very busy. Naivasha Road also busy, giving towards Ngong Road. And we're also looking at traffic starting to build on Langata Road out towards the city. Uhuru Highway is an absolute mess from Capital Centre all the way through to Haile Selassie Junction. So we're watching traffic develop before our eyes. Tell us about where you might be stuck or where you find a good route this morning. And let's talk on SpiceFM KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
7 minutes after 8. Thank you for keeping it locked on Spice FM, on KTN, on X, on YouTube, on Facebook. We live stream this show every weekday morning, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m.
Why wait when you can loop? This is a question that we're asking this morning. So think about it from a business point of view. Make your business dreams come true, and in this case, through. Welcome to the world of Loop. It's a lifestyle app that grows your business. NCBA says with Loop, you can get access to quick loans for your business. Wake up in the morning and you say, okay, there's something that we need to do, 1, 2, 3. Loop makes it happen for you. You can get quick access, easily make payments to other merchants, suppliers, and pay business utility bills through the Loop till. And you can do this once you download the Loop app on your mobile, on your Google Play Store or Apple App Store. You can do so many things. You can post promotional deals on the app. You can accept payments from other customers, whether on mobile money or bank, with one easy till for everybody. You can enjoy the most affordable transaction rates in town across any channel. Download the Loop app today and enter a world of convenience where all your lifestyle needs are sorted. Why wait when you can just Loop it? That's for folks in business. We'll tell you later about what you can do on a personal level with Loop.
Mambo ni mengi.
Yes.
Sindio? Oh, very good. Very good. Now, for the next hour, we want to have a conversation, getting an update on what's been happening, in the world. The armed conflict between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip, and the effect that it has had on the people on both sides, particularly those who live in the Gaza Strip. We are joined this time by the Ambassador of the State of Palestine to Kenya, His Excellency Hazem Shabat. He's back here. Good morning.
Good morning to you too.
Good to have you back here.
Thank you very much.
Welcome to the hot seat of the Situation Room.
Looking always forward for it.
How has it been in the last many months since you were last here?
It's exactly what we anticipated, and we have warned, and we knew that was coming. Despite the fact that on the 7th of October, Hamas has attacked Israel, but we knew that this all was playing into the hands of the new government of Israel, who had already predetermined and announced plans of doing everything in its power to end the Palestinian presence in the Palestinian territory, on their own homeland, and to kill any prospects for the two-state solution and the establishment of the Palestinian state as such, to empower it, to realize it. what we have seen over the past month is imbalanced and retaliation to an action that has exceeded all the norms of war, law, international law, and the laws of war, coming with a huge toll of death, destruction, and despair to many people. Of the Palestinians, of course, in this case, and also to the Israelis to some extent in this regard. So, with the prospects of escalation beyond the Palestinian land into neighboring countries, more parties are being involved in this conflict. We've seen destabilization of the region. All of this because Israel insists that it does not want to listen to anyone, including its closest allies, that their actions are only causing more destruction and destabilization, and is not what the world is expecting to see as a way forward to what has happened.
Okay. That sets the stage for our conversation. So now is the time to welcome you with the day's proverb. And you know, CT goes to an African country and brings us proverbs. He's decided that this week and last week and the previous week, he's looking at countries that border oceans in Africa, excluding islands. So this week, you are in which country, CT?
The Federal Republic of Somalia.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
The one with the largest coastline in Africa.
Oh, yes. It's huge. You're talking about the Gulf of Aden. It comes down, enters the Indian Ocean. It's long.
It is.
It's very, very long indeed. These youth taught their mother to give birth.
These youth taught their mother to give birth.
Yes.
That's the proverb. Balozi, what's your understanding of this proverb?
It can translate to many things. That first of all, the new generation is always the power or the fuel for recreation and re-improvising what the family looks like or the society looks like or anything like this, and encourages the homeland or the mother in this case to bring forward new blood, new ideas in this regard. So I don't know if that makes sense to anybody, but at least this is what comes to mind.
It does make sense. You know, when City gave us this proverb earlier at 6 a.m., we looked at each other and wondered, okay, so what would this proverb be saying? And it's interesting that you are the second guest now to give us your perspective of the proverb, and it makes a lot of sense. Yeah?
It's one of the reasons why we ask our guests to give us the input, because what we found over time is there is such an interesting diversity of understanding of the proverbs. So you start off by what you think it means, and by the time you're through within 3 hours, you're amazed at just how many other perspectives you have on the same proverb, and they all make sense.
Yeah. They do. So Balozi, it's coming up to a year since this conflict began. Do you have numbers? If you can just give us the numbers and figures, the number of people who may have died, who have been hospitalized, who have had to leave their homes and move into other areas, into other countries, the kind of impact it has had.
If we speak about the Gaza Strip, we're now, since yesterday, and maybe with the 21 of this morning, so we are now at about around 42,000 killed, and almost 95,000 injured. And by injured, I don't mean that a couple of stitches here or there. I'm speaking about maiming and severe injuries and crippling injuries that to the body. In the entire infrastructure in the Gaza Strip is entirely wiped out. Roads, sanitation, water lines, power lines, schools, hospitals, public institutions, universities, and it's basically the Gaza Strip, the area that hosted 2.3 million people, with multiple universities, national universities, accredited national universities, and 6-7 major hospitals, and hundreds of schools around the city and the Gaza Strip. All of this is decimated. This is now rubble. The latest estimate, and to make it more relevant here to Kenya, is UNEP's estimate of the amount of rubble that exists now in the Gaza Strip. The United Nations Environment Program, now based here in Nairobi, is estimating that over 40 million tons of construction rubble exists in the Gaza Strip.
Whoa.
So this gives our audience, and to you, of course, the scope of the destruction that was happening. That this was not targeting combatants or between, parentheses, militants here or there, or no, it was decimation of the entire existence of the Palestinians. And that's what the international community saw, that the target of Israel is to end Palestinian presence on the Gaza Strip and not to fight Hamas as such.
Okay.
And that's why we saw the U-turn in political positions. But now we are not only speaking about the Gaza Strip. Israel is replicating the same model in the West Bank. They stormed Jenin and they uprooted or bulldozed the entire road system in the area, together with the water lines, power lines, sewage, and under the pretext that we are fighting some militants in that 10-15 militants and whatever. So,
how is the government of the state of Palestine, where is it headquartered?
In Ramallah. The president sits in Ramallah.
Right. How has it been responding in terms of engaging the international community, engaging with the Israeli authorities?
We have received all our international partners and since the 7th of October repeatedly Secretary Blinken, all the European ministers of foreign affairs and prime ministers, and a considerable number of them, EU high representatives. We have taken part in all the Arab and Organization of Islamic Cooperation meetings, and the dialogue is always there. It has never stopped. And we were saying exactly what I said here in the beginning of the conflict and what we were saying before the beginning of the conflict. 1 year before that, my president stood in the United Nations and said, my people need the protection of the world because what's coming, we know what's going to come. And what the Israeli intentions for us is nothing but decimation and annihilation of the entire population and to end any prospect of peace. So we knew it in advance, we declared it in advance, and all our partners know our position in that. We have been against terrorism, we fought terrorism, we fought violence, and we tried over almost 30 years of a peace process to promote the principle of peace and dialogue. And we were involved on many levels, on business-to-business relations, institutions-to-institution relations. We have been fostering that and supporting it. But this never bear fruit because of the actions on the ground. You cannot be promoting peaceful interaction with your occupier while your occupier on daily basis is committing crimes, war crimes, and humiliation that is beyond anybody's tolerance.
But also, I hear you to say then that in this case, we talk about the occupier, in this case being Israel, of the Gaza Strip, and like you said, now moving towards the West Bank. That previously, when we look at the 30-year peace process, and even when there were bouts of conflict throughout that process, that usually by now we would have heard or seen the possibility of either, number one, ceasefire, or at least somebody was offering the white flag and saying, let us have a conversation and to see what's going on. We would have seen this by now having happened. But what you're saying is that there is no intent to live amicably, that the intent is to wipe out all Palestinian presence from the Gaza Strip. So inadvertently, you're saying that the possibility of peace talks or ceasefires then is impossible. Is that what you're saying?
That's not what only me saying this. At this stage, we are only speculating and analyzing the from the statements and the positions and what's happening on the ground. But if the actions of Israel in the occupied Palestinian territory, which by law, international law, and this is something that all countries of the world attest to, and this is what is being established, is East Jerusalem, the entire West Bank, and the Gaza Strip.
Mm-hmm.
If the actions are very coherent, it means that this is a determined policy of the current government of Israel.
Mm-hmm.
And this is not only my speculation, it's also the speculation of the Israeli opposition leaders who has spoken out very clearly that their prime minister has no intention of ending the war, and this is a campaign that he's willing to take all the way to the end to serve his coalition members and their aspirations in this regard. And when we speak about the coalition, of the current coalition in Israel, it's the most right-wing and fanatic coalition that existed in Israel or government in Israel. We have a minister of security who basically determines the quality of the life of the occupied people of Palestine under his military rule and police rule. He's calling Palestinians as animals, and he's dealing with them as animals. In public statements, this is not my words, and this is something that was published in Israeli newspapers, and they're not shying away from it. Imagine how he deals with them on the ground. All Palestinian villages now have gates in the occupied Palestinian land, on our land that is recognized by 143 countries as a state. Our villages have gates. So basically our occupier opens the gate in the morning if he decides to do so, and you leave. You're allowed to leave, to go to work, to go to whatever, with no guarantees that you'll be let out. If you come back and the door is closed, then you have to find yourself another place to stay. You cannot go back to your home. Where else is that allowed to take place? We speak about 7th of October. But before the 7th of October, and not in Gaza, in the West Bank, more than 230 people were killed by the Israeli army and settlers, who are allowed until today to practice pogrom on the Palestinian towns and villages, burning houses, burning property, cars, and killing whoever, because they are armed. And should, God forbid, the people would revolt against these attackers at night, in the middle of the night, the Israeli army provides the security for the settlers, the colonial settlers, not for the population. Yeah.
Balozi, there has been initiation and retaliation by Hamas. There has been a fight back. There has been initiation of conflict on the other side as well. So even as we speak in this manner, it would appear as though that the side known as Palestine is sitting back and taking attack. But we know that there's retaliation, and we also know that in some cases there is initiation of an attack. How would you explain this?
I see your point in the question, but it depends where are we pointing our finger on the timeline. Hamas did an attack on 7th of October. This is not speculation, this is a fact. We've seen it all on TV. An attack that took around 48 hours or whatever, and it has ended, and that's it. Okay? But an attack against who? I'm sorry, they did not attack Switzerland, for example. Israel, by international law, is an occupying force. The Gaza Strip is an occupied territory. Okay? So, the cause and effect, had there not been occupation, had Israel not been insisting over this 30 years of the peace process to destroy all prospects of peace and reoccupy and annex more land and kill more people on the ground, Hamas and other like-minded groups or whatever would not have existed, would not have been empowered in the Palestinian side. It's injustice, it's the crimes that are being perpetrated that allows groups like Hamas to exist and flourish and to be powerful and influential. The issue is, since 7th of October, what did we see? Identical actions to what we are the world is condemning Hamas to have done. Identical, copy, paste of killing, maiming, and whatever, at a ratio of 40-1. Isn't that something that we should make us wake up and see that this is not a recipe for a better future? And this exactly explains how Israel has been conducting itself before 7th of October and during 7th of October and after 7th of October and until now, and now it has moved to the West Bank, replicating the same amount of killing and destruction and choking and suffocating the Palestinian life in their economy, in their movement and everything. This is a systematic action. I'm sorry, if the opposition leadership is accusing Netanyahu of being the cause of what happened on 7th of October, and that he had known in advance, month in advance, about the possibility of something like 7th of October, and that how he dealt with it and how he has empowered Hamas by transfer of money and by weakening the Palestinian Authority over many years of his being in office as a prime minister. This is why we have the calamity at hand. This is not me speaking. That is not the Palestinians speaking. This is the Israeli politicians speaking to their own government. That the situation we are in is our own made because of our leaders.
You know, every time we have this discussion, the thing that I find overwhelming is just the hopelessness of it all. It's like it's a never-ending cycle of violence. Let's go back into history and look at 1948. Are we saying that from 1948, those wars then, 1967, that there's never been a time when one could look at that region and say the possibility of two states coexisting side by side was actually possible? Was there ever such a time?
Thank you very much for bringing the 1948. And I will answer your question, but I will first state the following. Israeli leaders, people in government, are saying, let's finish the job that we started in 1948. On TV, in Israeli newspapers, this is what they are calling for. To ethnically cleanse the Palestinians totally from their homeland. And this is going unchecked. Now, no, there has been many attempts. And the fact that the Oslo Agreement came into being was as a result for interaction between us, the European leadership, the Americans, and we agreed that the best way forward is a two-state solution. We will agree to settle for 22% of our homeland as long as peace is achieved, and we can live as neighbors and interact and trade and whatever, just like any other country. But over 30 years of negotiating, we lost more territory, more of our kids are being killed, our economy is more dominated. So basically, we are in a process that is not yielding anything. And over 30 years, we're speaking a generation plus. For people who have been born into the peace process, so but somebody who was born in 1993 in the peace process, he's now, imagine the amount of frustration and anger that seeing himself almost literally as apartheid in his own country. It's apartheid. This is not my words. This is all the legal Human Rights Watch, Amnesty International. They have said that what's happening in Palestine is classical definition of apartheid. Listen to what the German foreign minister a few days ago said. She's criticizing the inflammatory statements from Israel right-wing ministers, their calls to topple the Palestinian Authority and plans to build new settlements in the occupied Palestinian territories. She's condemning that. Germany, one of the strongest allies of Israel. So even the allies of Israel are not happy with what this government is doing. We had other governments that existed in Israel. Yes, we did not reach the final agreement, but never has the level of confrontation between us and them reached that point. And I'm speaking about us, the Palestinians in general, the Palestinian leadership, the PLO, the official government recognized by the international body.
Let's take a break. It's 8:30. Our guest this morning is His Excellency Hazem Shabat. He is the ambassador of the State of Palestine in Kenya. We are looking at what's been happening over the last 11 months. On the 7th of October last year, Hamas invaded Israel and caused a lot of destruction, death, and kidnapping of hostages. Since then, Israel retaliated, and we have heard from the ambassador 42,000 people killed in the West Bank, 95,000 people injured, not in the West Bank, but in the Gaza Strip, 95,000 injured. Destruction of the entire infrastructure, homes, buildings, water, sanitation, power, and everything destroyed. And it still goes on. What will it take to have a ceasefire? What will it take to bring peace to this region? Keep it here. We'll be back shortly.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
If we just gloss over issues and hope that time heals, then we might find that in generations to come, we might be back at the same situation. And the whole thing is born of stolen elections.
Spice.
When it comes to the decisions you make, you must be independent. There's no way you can allow one institution to dictate to you how you're going to conduct your operations, how you're going to decide cases. It's a no.
When you weaken the institution to the point where they cannot take action, then you realize that politicians have to come up and now start dealing with the issues.
That conversation has to die. Our politicians do not like the hard stuff. We must insist on the path of doing things right, whether popular or unpopular.
Money changes hands. That is a fact. If you have political goodwill at the highest top, like in Rwanda, then corruption will be an issue of the past. If you don't have political goodwill at the top, we will pass laws, we will amend laws, we will continue passing laws and re-amending laws, and nothing will happen.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day. The weather with SpiceFM.
50 degrees and sunny conditions in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 26 and highs of 27 in a sunny Nakuru at 18, 17 and sunny in Nyeri with highs of 25, while Eldoret at 16 is sunny going to highs of 24. Mombasa sunny at 24 with highs of 29, and in Malindi at 26 sunny with highs of 29. Kisumu at 22 sunny with highs of 31, and we'll see highs of 30 in a mostly sunny Kakamega at 21. Kampala at 22 is sunny with highs of 29, and 30 will be the high in a sunny Dar es Salaam at 23. It's 11 degrees and partly sunny in Johannesburg with highs of 24, while Mogadishu at 27 will be sunny through Wednesday with highs of 30. Addis Ababa partly sunny at 15 with highs of 20 and lows of 12, while it's mostly cloudy at 25 in Lagos. We'll see highs of 29 and highs of 32 in a mostly sunny Kinshasa at 23.
Spice up your life.
We are still in the middle of traffic hour this morning, and we're seeing that Uhuru Highway still continues with traffic coming out from different avenues. Langata Road busy, Lusaka Road then feeding onto Uhuru Highway. So that stretch between the United Stadium roundabout and the Haile Selassie Junction, very busy this morning. Outbound traffic is quite a thing. Also, as you're coming off of Jogo Road, that has reduced a little bit, but there's traffic coming in from Manyanja Road, Kangundo Road touching on Outer Ring, and the Thika Superhighway is still heavy with traffic all the way from that Mathare Junction out towards Moranga Road, which now is spilling over towards the Globe Cinema roundabout. It's busy on Kiambu Road, very, very busy on Waiaki Way today. Folks are saying that the entry to the expressway is what's causing the problem today. Not quite sure what that is, but it's madness. And we see that traffic then spilling over James Gishuru through towards the Red Hill Link Road, Lower Kabete, Spring Valley, Thigiri Ridge, all of that. A mess this morning. So we're keeping an eye on it. Tell us if you find a good route for escape. SpiceFM, KE on X, hashtag The Situation Room.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 95.9 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
The ambassador of the state of Palestine is still here with us as we continue looking at this conflict in between Israel and Palestine 1 year on, what's been going on. So on the 7th of October, Balozi, when the Hamas raided Israel, they left destruction and death. More than 1,200 people killed. They took off with hostages, 250 hostages. So far, according to the latest tally, I just looked at Reuters, is there are about 100 hostages who still remain. They're still held captive. No one knows where. 8 were rescued, 6 hostages were killed, and Israel has released a video now of that tunnel where those 6 were killed. And it just shows that there's still no end towards this. 100 have been released in the exchange program, where some Palestinian prisoners have also been released, but there are still 100 hostages who are being held. And then this is, of course, one of the reasons why Israel says we have to continue engaging as we seek to secure the release of 100 of our citizens. Now, my question comes back to the government in Ramallah. And what is it that the government has been doing in terms of seeking a solution to this, a resolution of this conflict? One, in seeking the release of these hostages, for purposes of making sure so you have no more excuse to be in this country. And then also seeking a conversation at a table with Palestine, with Israel.
Thank you for this question. First of all, Hamas did not perpetrate this action on behalf of the Palestinian people or with permission from the Palestinian government. This was very clear from the beginning. Hamas already had perpetrated a coup d'etat against the Palestinian government as in full control of the Gaza Strip. So let's remind the people and the audience that Hamas was not doing this on behalf of the Palestinian government or is not part of the Palestinian government, and definitely not on behalf of the Palestinian people. From the first moment, we were engaging through our lines of communication with Hamas and through the mediators, Qatar and Egypt and the US and everybody, that we are against the holding of hostage. This is not a tactic that the Palestinian government have ever used. The entire use of violence as a means of achieving political gains has been at all not part of the Palestinian strategy since the Oslo Agreement and even before. And we have always thought of dealing with that through the legal and international means and platforms and fora. So, again, we are fully against the taking of hostages. And we requested on many occasions that this situation must end immediately. And not to give Israel the excuse to perpetrate all the crimes that are being done under the pretext that we're doing this for the sake of the hostages. But again, the number of hostages that they retrieved through military means is insignificant to the amount that has been held and continues to be held. So basically, through logic and mediation, the life of those hostages were preserved and they were released in the past, in the first rounds. Which for me...
What role did the government of Palestine play in that?
Supportive role, of course, and putting pressure on Hamas that this cannot continue, that what you're doing is leading to more death and empowering Israel to take that as an excuse to cause more damage and end the Palestinian aspirations in Palestine. This political pressure in itself is significant enough. We don't have control over Hamas. I do not give orders to Hamas to do and don't. They do not take orders from the Palestinian government.
But they're doing it on behalf of the Palestinian people and government.
This is what they claim. Nobody has given them whatever. How many people in Palestine did you hear that they were blessing what Hamas has done or got involved with it? I'm sorry, if 2 million people now are being refugees and moving with their backpacks from one area to another, if they were Hamas activists and supporters of Hamas, why are they not fighting Israel? So basically, Hamas whatever capabilities it has, it's still a small group within the Palestinian population, but it's an armed group.
And the government of Palestine does not support what Hamas is doing.
No, at all. The
government of Palestine has you're saying, has been active in seeking a resolution to this by sending messages through, of course, your channels and back channels to Hamas and saying, release these hostages.
Exactly.
The 100 that were released, did the Palestinian government have an influence on the number, 100?
No. Hamas was very keen that the negotiations is done directly by it, without any influence from anybody, because basically, I understand your point. If Hamas was doing it against at the will of the Palestinian people, or encouraged by the Palestinian, or for the sake of the Palestinian people, it would have given the Palestinian government the right to negotiate the deal. But they insisted to do it solely as Hamas. It's about them. They are the ones who are going to handle the negotiations. It's their demands, and nobody else's, point of view is taken into consideration. So Hamas is doing that on behalf of Hamas, on its own merits, and still handling it until today as such.
Okay. Again, just hold on, City. Just a little bit further question. The government, the Palestinian government, is a legitimate government.
Yes.
Recognized by many states.
No, not by many, by the international community. Everybody in the international community.
Right. And participates even at the United Nations.
Yes.
Okay. So, what role is it playing in ensuring that not one more Palestinian is killed? Not one more Palestinian home is destroyed. Not one more piece of infrastructure in Palestine is destroyed. What I've heard so far, and you can correct me now, is it sounds as if the Palestinian government is helpless. It is on calling on the international community to do something, asking the Israeli to stop its aggression, and asking Hamas to also release the prisoners and do something. What role is the legitimate government of Palestine playing?
Thank you for this question. When you're dealing with right-wing extremist positions, in this case, we all agree that Hamas is an extremist group, in a sense, okay? And also the Israeli government is equally extremist in its positions and almost fanatic. If I want to engage on the same playing field, it means I have to roll up my sleeve and play exactly the same death game and violence game to be able to gain influence and have a say in this. And this is exactly what the Palestinian government doesn't want to be involved in. We do not want to add more death, more violence into the mix. We have enough of it already. Okay, we have 40,000 armed men under the control of the Palestinian government in the West Bank. We are not involved in any military engagement or interaction with the occupier as such. It's an option, but why are we choosing not to? Because what Palestine and Israel need, and this conflict needs, is not more violence. Violence is coming from everywhere, and everybody is contributing apparently very generously to this mix. What we are trying to do is that our relationship with Israel is governed by international law, by Security Council resolutions, by the interaction of the international community. Our partners in the EU, as EU, its member states, the US, China, Russia, all the Arab countries, African states, all of this are part and parcel of this conflict, and they are partakers in how it is developing and what's happening about it. So now we are seeing, for example, a U-turn in the European position. Why is that U-turn taking place? Because of our engagement with our European partners, and we're telling them, see, this is what we have been warning from. Your disengagement from the process and leaving us to our fate with the Israelis, this is the outcome of it. You have to engage, you have to enforce the principles that exist in this world and a rule-based order, no impunity anymore. I'm sorry, Borrell, the high representative of the EU, okay, saying blatant violations of international law remains disregarded. If institutions such as the International Criminal Court are threatened, if the International Court of Justice rulings are totally ignored, then what is the solution and whom may we trust? This is the EU High Representative saying.
Yeah.
Complaining that by abandoning the principles of international relations and international law, this immediately becomes the result. And this has been our positions over the past decades, not only years.
So the strategy of diplomacy you're deploying with other international partners is to win the support of the international partners to intervene in this conflict. That sounds to be medium to long term. In the immediate term, what is the Palestinian government doing?
Empowering them
immediately to stop more gates being erected in Palestinian neighborhoods.
Empowering the mediators, Qatar, Egypt, and the United States to reach that agreement and to accept the outcomes of this mediation and support it. And we did not block anything of this sort. We are flexible. We're engaging in what is known as the day after arrangements. Okay, we're trying to be a positive contributing factor in what the design of the day after it's going to be. In the Gaza Strip, for example. Okay, help come with innovative ideas of what can make Israel stop, feel that the threat does not exist anymore, but at the same time secure our national aspirations. We're in the kitchen, we're in the design room.
Right.
We're not in the field, because we are not part of the field.
If the Palestinian government implored upon Hamas to withdraw.
Withdraw from where?
To cease from any kind of attack in any way.
Release the hostages.
Release hostages, for example. Because if we say that there's mediation happening at the table now, and that there's certain things that can be done to enforce that position, I would say that would be one of them. Release hostages, refrain from any kind of attack whatsoever. Would Hamas listen? Because we've come from the establishment that Hamas operates as an independent body.
Yes.
So, knowing full well that what they're doing it's not any kind of bidding on behalf of Palestine. But would they listen if Palestine said, hold up, we don't want this anymore, what we are seeking truly is peace? Would they listen?
This is what we have been doing for a very long time, for many decades. But again, our voice has been weakened and watered down by the actions of the occupier. Because basically, when you start saying this, a simple answer from the other camp would come and say, all right, let us pursue peace and through the peaceful ways and techniques. Where did that get you over 30 years? More land is being confiscated. Okay, Israel just perpetrated the biggest land annexation in the occupied territory a few weeks ago, with an outcry from the world. Okay, so what is your peaceful and civilized and non-militarized course of action have gained you?
Do I hear you to be saying, Your Excellency, that the state of Israel supports the existence of Hamas because Hamas's activities give them license to perpetrate the things that they do?
Thank you very much. And this is, again, not me saying, this is also the Israeli media has said it. Netanyahu did not shy away from saying that empowering Hamas was part of my strategy to weaken the Palestinian Authority, the government that we have been talking about, okay, to reduce its international influence to force us to accept a Palestinian state. So with the excuse of Hamas existing and military groups and all this, then I am free from responding to or proceeding into the peace process more and progressing into it and relinquishing land to the Palestinian, the lands of the Palestinians back. So what is my pretext in this regard? That there are armed groups. Prime Minister Netanyahu was sanctioning the transfer of $30 million monthly to Hamas from abroad through Tel Aviv airport in military cars that were delivered to Hamas over more than 1 year. Why was he doing that? Why was he accepting? This is not my words. Check it. Say Hamas, Netanyahu, money.
Can I respond by asking a question? Are you therefore admitting that the Palestinian Authority, the government, is actually helpless, and that everything that happens, it's like they sit back and things happen to them? Because if Hamas are Palestinians and they have that sort of sway, it actually means they're the ones who are determining what is happening in the country, not the government of Palestine.
No, it's this would be an overstatement in this regard. It's not about being helpless. I'm still controlling and many things, and my whole strategy is built on empowering the Palestinian people in Palestine, whether in the Gaza Strip or in the West Bank or East Jerusalem, to be not subject to the Israeli bullying and the ethnic cleansing, by having solid foundations of education in Palestine and schools and universities. And we have 2 universities among the best 500 universities in the world in the occupied Palestine. My take on how we show resilience is very different from the military and armed structure or model. For me, it's about having a very solid health system in Palestine. This is what makes the people stay. This is what the people connected to their land. This is what more resilient to the Israeli actions against them. An economy, a solid economy, all of these things are what we are doing. Yeah. What we are not engaging is street-to-street fighting and combat. Okay, adhering by internal laws and to international standards, adhering to international conventions, and building up an environmental policy and all of these things. I'm building a state. I'm busy building a state.
But like you're saying, Hamas is an existential threat to the state of Palestine.
No, I would not call it that. Hamas is just an unobedient member of the family.
But it's a threat to the stability, to everything that your government is doing.
Yes.
And you're saying that they are getting support from your aggressor and your occupier. That means that they, because of their existence, the occupier is gaining ground. Because of your existence, the aggressor has excuses to come and do what harm they're doing. So they are an existential threat to the state of Palestine. Now, as a responsible government, what do you do to an institution or an entity that is threatening the stability of the state?
First of all, they are a threat to the vision that we have for how we are going to proceed in this conflict. They are taking the conflict to an area that we decided many decades ago that we will not use this route. This is when it comes to it's an existential threat to the way that we want to do things and how we are resorting to solving this conflict. Okay? But it's not an existential threat to Palestine or anything of this sort. Okay? This is their vision. They are wrong in their vision from our point of view. Okay? We try to engage with them. We try to convince. Just a few month and a half ago, we met them in under the mediation of China to try to reason with them and try to reach a common ground of national action that we can all agree on. So basically, Palestinian political activism, we agree on a package. This is the toolbox that we can use to, counter the occupier actions.
Yeah. Are Hamas a political party?
Yes, they are a political party. They are a faction, that has a political side to it and the military side to it.
Why I ask is because even within the state of Israel, they have opposition parties, not several opposition people who are in the opposition. And yes, they express views that are very, very contrary to the ruling government. But they are Israelis. Those who won the election and those who are in the coalition call the shots.
Yes.
But from everything you've told us, Palestine is unique in this sense. You have a government, then you have this militia, as you call them, whose existence keeps bringing fire on your heads continuously because they are the aggressor. The situation we currently have, we've had situations before where Palestine was actually their territory, their rights were infringed upon. But in this particular instance, we saw what happened. The point I'm trying to make is, in the absence of Hamas and the way they go about doing their business, would it be possible to say that Israel would be perhaps more amenable to arriving at settlements, or the vision that Hamas seems to have presented, one of violence, killing innocent people, take all these things that have helped muddy the waters, if they did not exist as they do, and if they did not have the power that they do, would Palestine not be in a better position?
The answer, according to facts, is no.
Why?
Because Hamas did not exist in the dawn of time. Hamas came to existence, the entire existence, in 1987. So Hamas is not something that deep-rooted in the Palestinian society throughout history and throughout all the calamities that the Palestinian people have gone through on the hands of the Israelis. That is one thing. Secondly, if we take this argument, then we are exempting the occupation from any responsibility. So I have the right to occupy your home for many years, and should one of your sons dare to grab a stick and beat me, I will go to the police and complain. And you're the aggressor because you have beat me. Okay. What is Israel doing in the Palestinian occupied territory? This is a clear violation of international law. Any Israeli, not Jewish because we have Jewish population in Palestine, any Israeli that exists in the Palestinian territory without the consent, our consent, he's an aggressor and violator. What are they doing there? Why are they insisting to occupy us and to enslave us in this way? And this is what's instigating violence on our side. This is what's empowering all these fanatic groups and the militant groups to exist.
Whereas the business of war, the business of conflict is complicated, really is, but that it does seem that from both sides of a conflict at any point in time are able to bring about points to the table which, whether we want to admit it or not, are understandable on either side of the conflict. That you can say, okay, well, I can see that point. Do you think then that from the things that we've brought out this morning, that there will be an opportunity really for, number one, ceasefire, and number two, proper sit down at the table to say, where are we and can we bring this almost year-long resurgence of conflict to bed?
Okay. The reaching a ceasefire is a Palestinian, and when I say Palestinian, I say all of Palestinians, government, non-government, population, everybody is for the ceasefire because, and these are not my words, these are the words of the EU, that hunger is being used in Palestine as a tool of war. There is famine in the Gaza Strip, happening over many months now. Okay, so the amount of violations and crimes that are being perpetrated in contradiction to international law and international humanitarian law is unprecedented in world history. Okay, the issue is, if ICJ rulings, the International Court of Justice rulings that came out a month and a half ago, that clearly stated any presence of Israel in the occupied Palestinian territory is illegal. All settlements that Israel has built on the occupied territory is illegal. Israel is under the obligation of immediately withdrawing from the Palestinian occupied territory and reimburse for the damage, repatriate for the damage that has been done as a result of their occupation to this territory. This is the International Court of Justice. This is not the Palestinians' wishes or aspirations, or this is what the law states. And Israel decides to ignore all of that. This is something that we knew. This is what the law says for many, many decades. But if my occupier is deciding to defy the law, to defy logic, to defy all peace calls, to defy his own allies' advice, what am I supposed to do? You're asking me, why are we helpless? Because I am facing a government that is not working according to any known logic to humankind or to any in international relations. If the opposition leader calls his prime minister a person without a soul, because how he is conducting this war and whatever, and how he's ignoring the need for a ceasefire and exchange of prisoners, okay? Because for him and his coalition members, the interest is not about the release only of whatever. It's about ending the Palestinian prospects in Palestine.
Balozi, we want to thank you very much for joining us today. I mean, it's been a good conversation. Let's have you again soon to get updates on this, what's happening. His Excellency Hazem Shabat is the ambassador of the State of Palestine to Kenya. We've been talking about the Israel-Palestine conflict in Gaza, spreading now into the West Bank, and what's happening there. What will it take to have a ceasefire and to have lasting peace in our region? 9 a.m.
Spice up your life.
Good morning, this is the News Wire. I'm Leah Ubaga. Operations at Jomo Kenyatta International Airport were paralyzed last night and this morning as well after a section of aviation workers went on a go-slow. Long queues of stranded travelers characterized the airport after boarding and takeoff were delayed, sparking an outrage. Many travelers were stranded on as others cancelled their trips. The disruption was as a result of a formal strike by aviation workers. The strike has been building up for weeks now and followed a notice issued by the Kenya Aviation Workers Union on August 12th, where it strongly opposed the proposed listing of JKIA to the Indian company Adani Group. It also followed talks between the union and government officials, which insiders said collapsed.
Have to make another buying of the ticket, and that is very unfortunate for us. It is very unfortunate that the Kenyan government does not want to pay attention on the matters of the Kenyan citizens that they are raising, because they want to give this airport to the Adani company, and that is very bad.
Where are you traveling to?
I was traveling from Kenya to China.
This event comes as Kenya Airways has announced delays and flight cancellations for all passengers due to ongoing go-slow by JKIA staff of a planned Adani list. Former LSK President Nelson Havi has condemned acting IG Gilbert Masengele's decision to disobey 6 court orders. Speaking on SpiceFM's Situation Room, Havi said that his reasons for failing to appear in court were not valid.
And coming back to this issue of Masengele, we have 3 Kenyans who have been disappeared. And when asked to come to court to explain their whereabouts or any efforts taken by the state to trace them, he says he's otherwise engaged in matters of great national importance. And when you interrogate the matters of great national importance, they are showbiz. He's attending a concert, he's going to inspect a project in Kwale. It's saddening. It's saddening. And this must sadden Kenyans.
And police in Sutik have arrested a mother of 5 after 2 bodies of her missing daughters aged 12 and 9 were found buried in a shallow grave inside her tea plantations. The 2 girls were reported to have been missing for the last 1 week only. Yesterday, to be found to have been badly mutilated and buried at the farm in Nyatembe village in Sutik sub-county. This is according to Mr. Kirui, who was at the scene of crime last night after the exhumation exercise that was conducted by the homicide officers, that they arrested the woman who will assist the police with investigations. And 2 days after Isiolo Girls High School's Form 1 dormitory was razed down by a raging inferno, Isiolo Boys High School, that is only meters away, has also lost one of its old dormitories to fire. The fire broke out last evening when students were in classes for the evening preps. The students tried to put out the fire using fire extinguishers, but all was in vain as the blaze overpowered them. The Isiolo County Government Fire and Rescue Services engine arrived about an hour later and assisted in putting out the fire. That's the news wire. I'm Leah Ubaga.
.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
All right, after 9 o'clock and traffic still pretty busy in the city today. That issue on Waiaki is still a major one, and it's spilling over then towards the crossover between Parklands and then going towards Ring Road Westland. So all of that is crazy busy. And if you look at that entire loop, then going towards James Gishuru, we can see traffic still continues heavy. Coming back towards Lower Kabete and then on towards Spring Valley, it's busy. Limuru Road also feeding into Muthaiga and all these other parts. Crazy still. Survey is bumper to bumper all the way through towards the junction that takes you to Muranga Road. Muranga Road then getting into the city is bumper to bumper. Still this morning. Still heavy traffic hour. Landis Road is busy coming in from Jogo Road. And we're also seeing that Juja Road still continues to be very heavy this morning with traffic. Folks are still up and about. Let's talk on SpiceFM KE on X. Hashtag the Situation Room. Keep things moving this morning.
This is The Situation Room, the home of hard-hitting political commentary and penetrating insights about the state of the nation. This is a talk radio experience like no other. The Situation Room, a place for hard truths, debates, and elevated conversations. The Situation Room, witty, political, engaging, deep, controversial. In the room, we have C.T. Muga, researcher, academic, seasoned political observer, a fountain of wisdom in these politically uncertain times. Ndu Okoh, Nigerian by birth, Kenyan by choice, communications expert, Pan-Africanist, a truth seeker and believer in people power, and Eric Latiff, agent provocateur, the man in the chair, seasoned journalist, news hound, a man who believes in punching up, not down. This is The Situation Room, the only way to start your day.
Getting into the final hour of The Situation Room this morning. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. And those that are on X, many of them on X today, karibuni sana. If you're joining us for the first time, it's always a pleasure. What we say is first-time visitors. What do we tell them to do? First-time visitors, yes, to our congregation.
Thank you for joining us this morning. If you're visiting, please take our greetings back. However, if you'd like to make this your home, we welcome you, and please see us in the tent.
Yeah.
Afterwards,
we shall have some tea. We're serving some tea and some bitings.
Yes, please.
And we'll come around with a registration book, membership cards.
Yes.
We like engaging. We have fellowships every weekday morning from 6 a.m. to 10 a.m.
We welcome you to make this your home.
You to make this your home. Karibu sana. Yeah. Everybody, asante sana. So our next conversation is going to be about the diaspora. Okay, many of the people who are following this conversation on YouTube, on Radio Garden, on TikTok, on X, are outside of the borders of the Republic of Kenya. Many of them, and many of those that do that have, of course, known how to do this. They know that you have to invest back home, or you want to support people back home, and you want to send in remittances. And my friend, the amount of money that comes from the diaspora back into this country is a lot. For example, in the month of January, according to the Central Bank of Kenya, diaspora remittances to Kenya, 412,410 US dollars. January peke yake. February, 385,000 US dollars. March, 407,000 US dollars. April, 397,000 US dollars. May, 404,000, and so on and so forth. A lot of money. A lot of money coming back into the country. Now, those people in the diaspora want to also engage with our banks the same way that they would do when they're locally. And that's why we have our guest here from Credit Bank to come and talk to us about digitization and how to bank the diaspora. Jean Karienya is the head of digitization and digital products at Credit Bank PLC. Good morning, Jean.
Good morning.
How are you?
I'm okay.
Now that we're talking to the diaspora, we don't say good morning or good afternoon or good evening because we don't know.
Good day.
Because it's just good day.
Good day.
Yeah.
Good day.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
City is going to welcome you with the day's proverb. This week the proverbs are from the Federal Republic of Somalia.
Yes.
Who's the president of the Federal Republic of Somalia?
Currently?
Yeah.
Take a guess.
A big one.
It's called Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud.
Yeah, I was going to tell you he's Sheikh.
He's a prime minister called Hamza Abdi Bare. Then this is interesting. They have the Senate, which has a speaker called Abdi Hashi. Then they have a speaker of the House called Aden Madobe. It's very interesting. The way they've constructed their parliament. It's why I keep mentioning this is because it tells me that you can actually fashion your political setup to suit your purposes. Yes. It doesn't have to be you parliamentary, then presidential. You can mix it up. You can decide how it is you want it to be. Yes. But anyway, we are not following any dictate in this country. As we've already had ours mixed up. We have a presidential system, and what ours means is the president does what he wants.
Do the guys in Hargeisa, Somaliland, recognize Sheikh Hassan?
I think that one. That one. It's the question, isn't it?
We leave it to them.
They will leave it to them. I'm sure they'll. If you ask them, they'll tell you. I think Sheikh Hassan knows who he is, so and that's good enough.
Indeed. What's the proverb?
The proverb for today is very simple. These youth taught their mother to give birth. Yes.
These youth taught their mother to give birth. Jean. It's a simple proverb, isn't it?
Is it?
Very simple.
Well, I would attribute it to the older generation having known things during their time, but need to learn from the upcoming generations. That's how.
Snap.
Yabu, snap it for us as well, no?
I mean, I just had a eureka moment. I was like, yeah, it's actually true.
Thank you.
Yeah. In the present day, you learn things that you didn't know before.
The youth bring fresh context.
Yes, they do.
Very good.
They do.
That's a nice one. That's a nice one. First of all, tell us about Credit Bank.
Okay.
For those who have never heard of Credit Bank, or those that have seen Credit Bank but have never entered, or those that even bank with Credit Bank but because they were looking for a bank and they bank, and those that are happy with credit.
Okay. So Credit Bank was founded in 1986. So we've been easily around for the last 35 plus years. We have 16 branches across the country and mostly in urban towns. For the longest time, we were referred to as an SME niche bank, but we did see an opportunity to diversify our products and delve into the retail space by building products that are relevant to the retail customer. And one of those products is the Nyumbani Diaspora account that we are speaking about today.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey. Now, let's talk about the diaspora. There are very many Kenyans who live and work outside of the country, or some of them are even studying outside of the country. And from what you've seen as a bank, what are the trends in terms of their banking needs and their banking habits as well?
Okay, that's an interesting question. So a few stats, first of all. So there's an estimated 3 to 4 million documented Kenyans living abroad today. Yeah. And then when it comes to need, of course, the Kenyan in the diaspora is looking for convenience when it comes to opening an account. They are looking for affordability when it comes to remitting money back home. And then they're looking for opportunities where they can ensure that this money works for them. So those are some of the factors that we looked at. If you look at the industry today, most of the financial institutions either require you to physically visit their agent with your physical forms, account opening forms that have been notarized, and now that kicks off the account opening process. And then also stats show that it takes an average of 6 to 9% cost to remit funds back home. That's quite high. Yeah. And then when it comes to investment
Why is
opportunities.
it so high?
That's almost 10% of what you're sending. If you're sending
Yes.
$1,000, you're going to spend $100 to send it back.
Just the cost of sending.
Just the cost
Why?
of sending. It depends. It depends with the points of integration that you have to do as a financial institution when it comes to facilitating the remittance of these funds. And then looking at investment opportunities, we've had cases of people who are sending money back home, maybe to build a project, only to come back to a Mabati structure.
Let me ask, please allow me to interrupt you.
Yes, please.
I want to understand this point of integration. What is it and how does it work?
So by integration, I basically mean we leverage on technology, because as a Kenyan in the diaspora, you're not available physically. So how are we going to digitize the process of you opening an account, of us validating who you are, validating or looking at the documents or the data that you're providing for us to be compliant with the regulator. So that's what I mean by regulation. And then in terms of remittance, we are not physically present there, but how do we enable you to send your money directly to your credit bank account back home?
So this process of enabling is what produces the cost.
To some extent, yes.
And the other extent, which isn't to
this one.
It's not summed.
So there are many factors at play, especially when it comes to...
So the reason why I ask is one of the things that people often talk about with regards to banks, costs. You know, this is your statement, then there's this, and then you know what is this, and then there's another one.
One transaction has like 3 different costs that come in.
And
1 shilling 50 cent here, 5 shilling 60 cents there, 7 bobbing.
Okay.
Levy what?
We're used to Kenya Power telling us all this things we didn't understand. But
so the truth of the matter is, as a financial institution in Kenya, you don't have presence out there. So you have to partner with other institutions that are licensed to operate in that area. So there's need to factor in
so
their
you're using
cost
their
as well.
facilities,
Yes.
and that comes with a cost.
Yes, it does.
That's why.
Okay.
So then as you got off that, I feel that you were saying that usually it's so expensive, but that there is a way out, or not.
So we managed to find a way using our diaspora Nyumbani account, Nyumbani diaspora account, sorry. So I think the most difficult part was for us to think around solutioning and providing a one-stop shop. Providing a solution that allows this Kenyan in the diaspora, first of all, to open their account digitally and efficiently, ensure that they can remit at a lower cost than the average 6 to 9%. And we have managed to ensure that we are able to remit your funds below 5%. Our cost is below 5%.
Hang on.
Okay.
Now, sometimes, so like when you send money, right? If you're doing it, because obviously this is bank to bank. So I like this $1,000 that, CT will give me at some point. But so $1,000, right? And you're saying 5% of that is $50, right? Is that the total amount that we're talking about, or is that the sending? And then I will have to be charged to also receive the money?
No, so we don't charge the recipient.
Okay, because sometimes it will be less because there's a certain duty that is levied and such.
So we've factored in the cost.
All of that is factored. Yeah. Okay. What does then that mean? And are you looking at caps that can be placed on the kinds of monies that you send? Because just looking at the numbers that Erica talked about, that big numbers of money that's coming into the country anyway. And so folks are doing big ticket items with them, building, investment, etc. Is there a cap on the amounts that you can now send with, fluidity and such?
Yes, so depending on the compliance that is stipulated today, there are specific caps when it comes to remitting funds, but we are able to have this conversation at the point of remitting. And what it means by us also being able to manage the cost, it allows the Kenyan in the diaspora to be able to remit much more, and enabling more Kenyans in the diaspora to send money back home. So one of the things we've observed is that around the time when schools are being opened, the wave of remittance is quite high, because people are sending money for education for their siblings, for their children. And other times when Kenyans are sending money is to support with medical, household, food and stuff. So we want to ensure that you're able to send money back home at any instance and affordably.
At any instance.
Yeah.
And this is made possible because of the digitalization process.
Of the digitization that we've done. So number one, you're able to instantly open your Nyumbani diaspora account. So you could be seated in whichever state that you're in at Just by visiting our website, you're able to open this account instantly.
Take us through that. Can we do that here?
We can.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, we'll do it.
Though the system will pick that you're not in the
It'll tell us
diaspora.
where.
The system that we're testing it.
Tell system.
Tell them that we are in the
Kenya is diaspora. So you go to the
You go to our
bank.
website.
What's the URL?
www.creditbank.co.ke.
Okay. And then you will then select the...
You select under the personal products.
Yep.
You will see the current account. Then the Nyumbani diaspora account
So it's one of those.
is listed there.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah.
And you can access it from your mobile device as well.
You can access it from your mobile. You can access it from your laptop.
Current account and do that one.
Under the
Current.
personal. Go to personal and then current. Then you will see the Nyumbani diaspora.
current personal.
Just click on the personal.
Oh, there's a
Personal
tab.
current account.
There's a personal. Yeah.
Up there.
Up. There's a tab for personal.
Up.
Oh, voila.
Yes.
Up on
So
the
under
page.
current.
There. Current. Why so many
Current
steps,
is a-
Bwana?
Current.
So we have
And then
different
another-
products.
Nyumbani diaspora.
Yes.
Nyumbani diaspora.
Yeah.
Okay.
So on
And
this
here we
mini
are.
site, we've been able to also give the different benefits that
Okay.
are available for this account.
And I
Take
can
us
tell
through
you
those
what they are.
Okay.
So now, the first one, no minimum operating balance. What does that mean?
It means you do not need to hold a specific amount in the account for you to be operational.
Please clarify, because we also know there's free education. But, yeah.
So you can deplete the account. It can remain with zero, or you can retain
Or is there a
$1 million.
minimum before zero?
So for you to open the account, there's a minimum that you have
To
to
open.
open with.
Yeah.
But after that,
You can deplete.
You
you
can
can
deplete
deplete it.
and
But
top up
because
as
of the advantages that we've put on this particular account, there will be no need to deplete the funds in
Okay.
the account.
The next benefit then?
Secure internet and mobile banking.
Exactly. So that basically means once you've opened the account and you've funded it, you have access to our digital channels and that access allows you to manage the funds in your account. So if you are paying for fees, most institutions today have a digital method that you can pay them with.
Yeah.
So you're able to log into internet or mobile banking from where you are and make the payments.
Okay.
Yeah.
Free monthly e-statements.
It just means we give you visibility into your
what you've
account
done.
of what is happening in your
Okay.
account. Yes.
Free internal transfers.
If you're sending money from your Nyumbani diaspora account to another account within Credit Bank, we're not going to charge you for that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Access to a Visa debit card. I have questions.
Okay, so that basically means we will be able to ship you your debit card wherever you are. And then if you're the kind of person who needs to do shopping online or you need to go to the mall with your card, you will have this card for use.
You're right.
Yes.
Access to competitive forex exchange rates.
Okay, so probably what I should mention here is that this Nyumbani diaspora account can be opened in different currencies. Think about the top major currencies. So dollar, GBP, euro, and Kenya shilling. So access to the forex exchange rate means that we are able to give you a preferential rate when you're changing money between them.
Preferential according to whom?
We will have a conversation with the customer. So we will listen to the rate. We look at the rate for the day and then give you the best rate.
That you also look at the amounts that it's going to be transacted and say, okay,
we
look,
do.
that we can be,
We do.
Why those three currencies?
So we looked at the top currencies.
Because basically
It's
you're saying it's the euro, the dollar, and the pound. Why those three?
Those are the major ones. Those are the major ones that most of the customers we've observed have required to open their accounts in. However, it doesn't mean we don't facilitate their currencies. Yeah, we've just decided to mention those.
Jean, those benefits look similar to benefits in any other bank, at any other facility. What's unique then here?
So the uniqueness of this particular solution, number one, I said we looked at the different pain points for this customer in the diaspora. So I did mention that some of the institutions require you to physically visit their agent. And then cost was another aspect in terms of ensuring that you're able to pay an affordable rate to do the remittance. And then what we observed also is that other institutions, financial institutions, don't have a one-stop shop. So they have, let me call it, disjointed solution. So you're either opening a diaspora account and then investment is a completely different solution altogether.
Yeah.
What we worked on is offering a one-stop toolkit that can cater to all your needs as a diaspora customer. Yes.
Okay. Let's look at what happens in the region, because that's the thing that, if you look at the East Africa region, countries where a lot of trade is happening, some of the biggest trading partners just here in the region, and there are people who are doing individual business. How does the support then open up for them in terms of what they're able to do, exchanging money, passing it back, paying for supplies like that? How does that work?
Goes back to the benefits of this particular product. So number one, it's available in different currencies. So if you're paying someone across the region in Uganda, and if you're paying through dollar, you're already able to open a dollar account. You can do an international transfer or a cross-border transfer directly from this account. And how do you do it? You log into our internet banking or mobile banking to make this particular payment. So everything that you need is at your fingertips. You don't need to walk to the branch. You don't need to physically
even be in the country.
Be in the country, yes. And then again, because of the preferential rates, you're able to talk to one of our relationship managers. We get your preferential rate when you're doing this transaction. So it doesn't need to be dollar to dollar. You could be sending money from your Kenya shilling account, but it's a cross-border or an international transaction. They will give you a preferential rate. Yeah.
So this is a current account?
Yes.
Okay, so now let's look at somebody maybe who's in pick a country, in Qatar. They are working and they're getting paid in Qatar, and they have banking solutions in Qatar. Are we saying that they are operating their other account in Qatar, but when they need now to, do some bit of payments, that's when they transfer some money into the Nyumbani diaspora account by Credit Bank, and then that's when they'll do it? Or can they operate this as their main account?
So they would need to, first of all, make sure that this money is in the Nyumbani diaspora account. Yeah, you see, it depends with what the financial institution at play is offering. But we are saying, while you're in Qatar, as long as you can get money into this account, and we have different touch points available today for you to deposit money into your Nyumbani diaspora account. And then you're able to proceed with your business of the day.
So what will allow you to do here is you will have money in this account, and then you can transfer it maybe from USD to, you want to pay school fees, you will pay into the school fees account in Kenya shillings.
Yes. So you can do that. Or you could receive money in dollar, in your dollar account. You could as well have a Kenya shilling account. Nothing stops you from having an additional account.
So you can move it into your Kenya shilling account, and then transfer and pay school fees
and then
there.
Make the payment into the institution. As long as the institution has given you the details of how to pay them, that's easily available on the internet banking platform.
In the end, isn't the cost almost the same? Because let's say you're operating an account in Qatar with one of the Qatari banks, and now this is where you're paid. Then you move money from there. Maybe it's also where your savings are and all. You're moving money from there into this credit bank account in USD, moving it into the shilling account, and then transferring it.
I don't think it's the same, because if you look at the option that this Qatari customer has today, are they able to pay directly from their Qatar account to the school? There are many aspects that they need to consider there. But while in Qatar, if you're able to deposit those dollars that were paid to you into your dollar Nyumbani diaspora account, at no cost, of course, because that's a deposit, then now we begin the conversation of either changing the FX into the Kenya shilling account and then making the payment to the school. The other conversation would include integration into your Qatari bank, and then paying the local school, time of transfer. And then again, we've not thought about the aspect of how you would be able to make this transfer. Do you have channels available to you? What is the FX around that particular conversation with your particular bank? But with the Nyumbani diaspora account, we've eased that process.
Does it allow bank to mobile money?
Yes, it does.
Bank to M-Pesa?
Yes.
So you can send from this account onto somebody's M-Pesa?
Yes.
As long as money?
Yes, as long as you've credited your Nyumbani diaspora account, or rather remitted to that account, you have access to all the facilities that are available locally in the country.
When the money is in this Nyumbani diaspora account, is it then under the purview of the Central Bank of Kenya?
Yes, it's an
so whether I'm operating from Finland or Qatar or the UK, this is basically now under the regulation of the Central Bank of Kenya.
Yes.
So it already, once I move money into this, it already checks in as remittance. Is that what we're saying?
Yes, it does. It does. It does.
Okay.
And then all the other now transactions become local transactions. Yeah.
Can I ask a KRA question?
I don't think so.
Ask.
Is this money subject to tax?
It is. It is. It is.
There's excise duty on transactions.
Yeah.
So basically what you're saying is once I have put money into this, I have remitted money into my into a Kenyan account.
Yes, because remember
I'm accessing it from whatever outside of the country, but I'm operating basically into this.
Yes.
And what is making it different from opening any other account, because you have other credit bank accounts, what you're encouraging the diaspora person to open this one and not any other is because it's going to be cheaper. I mean, I'm not I'm going to those accounts again.
Sure. Convenience number one. Remember, if you were here.
So I was here in Kenya and I had a credit bank account. I have gotten a job in Switzerland.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I still have my credit bank current account, whichever one of those current accounts.
Current account.
I have a salary account
Yes.
that I've been operating. Why can't I continue operating my salary account from Switzerland?
How will you be remitting funds there?
Is it to the account?
Yeah.
See, the person, I give them the account number, they pay me.
Or from my Swiss account, because then I've gone there, I've opened a bank account in Switzerland. The same way, I'm moving money from there into my Kenyan account.
So let's look at the cost.
Okay.
They pay you in Switzerland.
Yes.
It takes 6 to 9%, the average cost of remitting to that account, because that what they'll be doing is remitting to your Kenyan account, the salary account.
Of your money now?
Yes, of your money. So 6 to 9%.
Of whatever I'm sending?
Of
whatever you're receiving.
Into the salary account.
No. Stop.
Let's say your salary of 1 million shillings CT.
Yes. Yes.
Is being paid in Switzerland. Please stop me if I'm wrong. In Swiss francs, the equivalent. As you are receiving the money in your account.
In Switzerland.
As you're receiving the money.
They tax it.
They would have not taxing. They would have charged you to receive that money up to 9% of that money. So you receive that money average cost less 9%. So 1 million shillings.
So I'm paying the Swiss taxes.
It's a cost of transaction.
It's a cost of transaction.
You see the transaction cost kawaida.
That Swiss bank is going to charge me 9% of the money I'm sending.
Oh, you're receiving.
Because you're sending money out of Switzerland.
Yes, and again, remember, the Swiss bank doesn't have a local presence here. So they also have to partner with organizations or remittance companies that will allow the funds to get to your account here. So we've done the homework.
So the amount of money that I'm going to receive is much less than what I intended to send.
Yes, no.
And what you're explaining then, Jean, before you go to a break, is why you're telling me to, in addition to my that salary account, I now should open the Nyumbani Diaspora account.
Yes, the Nyumbani
because now when I open the Nyumbani Diaspora account, that cost is much less.
That's one of the items. Yes, that's one of the aspects.
One of the benefits is that the cost is going to be much less if I operate this other account.
Yes.
Okay, I get it. On that note, now let's take a break.
Now that you know your money is secure.
Now that I can see where the money is going, now we can take a break. This is Kenya's biggest conversation. It's a situation room. We're having a conversation to encourage the diaspora on how to bring money back home. And saying Fintech has made it easier for you to remit money back home, make payments, and that's what this bank has basically done. Let's get back into this conversation. It's wait, what's playing now? Yeesh. At 28 minutes to 10. Patrick Lodge, Otieno Lumumba. Karibu sana.
Asante sana.
CT Muga.
CT Lodge.
Muga,
not Muga.
He's here, and here's the day's proverb.
One man marries a woman, another man marries trouble. Is he the same man?
Spice.
A lion cannot eat more than 2 donkeys. It will die a natural death because there is no ICU in the forest. In Kenya, it has become the situation that you cannot conduct 2 elections. In fact,
with the same IEBC.
You can't.
I tell you about this Indian friend of mine who was enjoying other Indians in the group. He wrote the word valve and told them, read it.
So how did he say it? I really want to know.
The valve. Of course, kina Ednah, it's the, like you said, the B's and the P's. Kila kitu mkisia kisema atasema opposite.
Opposite?
Ukisema hii anasema opposite.
Opposite.
Bro, ukisikiliza namna hii unasikia boost.
The Situation Room. Spice, the only way to start your day.
Dad, the bride is here. It's time for the ceremony. I can't. What? My back is hurting. I can't even walk properly. But the ceremony is supposed to start soon. Wait, I have something that will help you. Here, take this. Panadol Extra? Yes, that's Panadol Extra with Optizorb. It is absorbed fast and effective for pain relief.
Introducing Panadol Extra with Optizorb. Panadol Extra now with new Optizorb technology to fight multiple tough pains. With 3 times more pain-relieving medicine in the first 30 minutes when you need it most.
I now pronounce you husband and wife.
If symptoms persist, seek medical advice.
The weather with SpiceFM.
Sunny conditions in Nairobi. We'll see highs of 25 and lows of 13. Highs of 27 and lows of 13 in a sunny Nakuru at 18, and it's 17 and sunny in Nyeri, going to highs of 25. We'll see highs of 24 in a sunny Eldoret at 16. Looking into sunny Mombasa, highs of 29 and lows of 23. And we'll see highs of 29 and lows of 24 in a sunny Malindi. It's 22 and sunny in Kisumu with highs of 31, and 30 will be the high in Kakamega, where the sun is up at 21. It's 22 and partly sunny in Kampala with highs of 29, and into Dar es Salaam at 23. It's sunny with highs of 30 and lows of 22. 11 degrees and sunny conditions in Johannesburg, going to highs of 24, and Mogadishu sunny morning at 27 with highs of 30. 15 sunny conditions in Addis Ababa with highs of 20. It's 25 and cloudy in Lagos with highs of 29, and 32 will be the high in a mostly sunny Kinshasa at 23. Beijing at 27, mostly cloudy going into evening Wednesday, highs of 28 and lows of 16, while it's cloudy in Paris at 13, we'll see highs of 17, and London at 9 is sunny with highs of 15. New York, still Tuesday night, is 18 and clear, coming into Wednesday, highs of 25 and lows of 16.
Sugar and spice and everything nice. SpiceFM.
Spice up your life.
All right, slight reduction of traffic on the Thika Superhighway. It's been heavy this morning as you're coming from Survey through towards the Pangani Underpass. And there's still traffic up as you approach the Globe Cinema roundabout. That is still a bit crazy. And the craziness that was on Waiyaki Way is still there. Still crazy as you then go past ABC and they're going down towards Westlands. James Gishore reduced as well. And so we're coming out of traffic hour, except for some trouble spots. We're looking at a little bit of traffic left then as you approach the CBD coming in from Uhuru Highway. So let's watch out for that through the morning. Talk to us on SpiceFM KE on X.
Mature, intelligent talk every morning. Spice up yourself. Mornings done right. 94.4 Spice FM, Nairobi.
24 minutes to 10. Credit Bank PLC is licensed and operated by the and regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya. Licensed and in operation in Kenya since 1986. All those many years. Now they have many solutions, and now we're talking about one solution for the diaspora, where fintech innovations are making remittances cheaper and faster. Jean Karienye, the head of digitization and digital products at the bank, is our guest. Let's talk about regulation. And that's why I started by saying regulated by the Central Bank of Kenya because you're licensed in Kenya. Now, if you're operating in all these other countries and those other jurisdictions, do you need to comply with those jurisdictions and regulations in those countries?
Yes. The simple answer is yes.
How so then? How do you do it?
So what we've done as Credit Bank, through different integrations, we've ensured that our technical systems are able to integrate to the different touch points that allow us to validate the data that you're giving us. So remember, when you're doing account opening, there's specific information that you require to give us. So we are able to validate according to the regulation abroad as well as local, and ensure that we keep up to the standards that are required. That's number one. Number two, we have a very robust and efficient compliance team. And their job is basically to ensure that we are always updated with new regulations, both abroad and locally. And once they get these new regulations, they work with the digital and the ICT team to ensure that we can plug this into the checks that we are doing.
Have you encountered any challenges?
So far, no.
In compliance? Like, do you need to register with the authorities in each of the countries where you're partnering with others?
So I'll answer that question differently. We are regulated here.
Yes.
But for us to be able to facilitate remittance from there, we are working with a regulated entity. So it's not necessarily Credit Bank, but we are working with a regulated entity there that can provide the capability to remit the funds.
And that's your partner?
Yes, our remittance partners.
In those countries?
Yes.
That means you're not in all countries?
So what we've done is we've partnered with one that provides access to as many countries as possible. Yes. So we don't have to be physically there, but because of this particular partnership and integration, you can access this Nyumbani diaspora account, or you can remit to this from, actually they are in more than 165 countries currently. Yeah.
Okay. Can you have more than one person on your account? And it's a question that we've seen coming in. So can you have a secondary signatory on your account as an account holder who is based in Kenya? If you're out there, can you have somebody else who acts maybe as an agent on your account locally? And would you even need that?
The question here would be, is this person basically accessing your account using your login credentials,
is that a joint account?
Or is it a joint account?
Yeah. So remember, it's a personal current account.
Okay.
So you wouldn't need an agent locally. How we've designed this particular account or this solution is you have access to it wherever you are. As soon as the account is opened, you have access to the digital channel. So you wouldn't need anyone locally coming to transact on your behalf. Internet banking provides you the capability to make any of the payments that you would require. You have access to the statements. You have a dedicated relationship manager that can guide and provide even advisory conversations when it comes to investment conversations. So you wouldn't need someone else transacting on your behalf. The same way, if you are here, you wouldn't need me to go to the bank on your behalf to probably initiate a transaction. You already have this on your phone or on your laptop.
I can see where that question is coming from. And maybe it's an issue of just transparency and accountability. So this person in the diaspora is running a project in Kenya, or is supporting school fees payment in Kenya. But then they don't want to have this issue of they've put money into their Nyumbani diaspora account and then transferred it into this other person's account so that, you can pay fundis, because you're dealing with a daily lipa fundi, this is nunua kokoto, lipa mtu ya lori and all those. So you want your local person here to just be going into the account and withdrawing the money to make the payments as you're busy, maybe time difference and all those things. And you will then be able to see, because you have the statements, you'll be able to see what is happening to the money. So you're basically having some control of the expenditures and questions and your accounting purposes. I can see that may be where the person is asking, can I have somebody else also operating this account? I've put money from where I am and they're withdrawing the money from back home and I can see
that they're doing this.
Tulisema utoe 10,000.
Ulitoa 20.
Ulitoa 20 kwa nini umelipa nani?
So Eric, if you think about it, in the digital age today, why will you need to withdraw physical cash to go and make payments?
Hata kama ni kulipa kwa hiyo M-Pesa.
It's a question. So what we've done,
you could have money in your pocket.
In your pocket. But this is the secondary person that you're entrusting to go and make these payments for you. But what you're saying is with the Nyumbani diaspora account, kama ni fundi analipwa on his mobile wallet, you're able to do that.
Yeah. But the time difference. I'm in Australia.
And it's already tomorrow.
This guy is trying to reach me because I'm a deliver nini kokoto hapo. I am asleep. He thinks it's midday everywhere. He wants to be paid now. So I want my local guy to be able to pay now when the now happens there.
So what you can do and what we've facilitated is you can instruct the bank. You can instruct the bank to make a certain payment. However, our channels do come with a capability of scheduling payments.
I see.
So if you are used to planning ahead and you know there are certain payments that need to go out, let's say on Friday, you can make these scheduled payments off our internet banking. So for the abrupt ones or the emergency ones, you can always instruct the bank to do the payment on your behalf.
Do you know what is actually strange? Everything you're saying makes so much sense and it makes life so much simple. But what you're fighting here is the tyranny of habit. Yes. I'm used to my person whom I send. And the very thing you've said, the bank can do that. No, but I want to send him to the bank.
To the bank.
Okay.
So at that point, you can appoint legally and officially. You can tell the bank that I would like CT to be able to come to the bank. These are his details, and he should be able to access certain amounts. But you will do that through the bank, not through the channel. So we wouldn't be the ones to onboard you on the channel. You as the agent, but you're able to access.
Who's going to authorize the bank to...
So me as the Kenyan in the diaspora, there's a process I would need to follow with the bank, and I would be able to appoint someone who will physically visit the branch to access these funds. So there's a legal process that we can follow for that.
You know, even we are in the digital age, but you know, we haven't fully been weaned out of these processes where I need to see someone, I need to talk to them, I need to send them. It's taking a bit of time. Yes. Because something like M-Pesa, I know it took me something around 5 years for me to understand that this thing actually works.
You don't have to actually see the cash for it to be there.
No. First of all, that the money is actually safe
in this thing.
Yes.
But how is
M-Pesa.
How is your trust so far on the digital age?
It's actually really good, especially when they brought in this thing where I can see the name of the person I'm sending to. You have no idea the number of people I sent money to and I didn't know.
So you're able to validate that before?
Yes. So I'm saying technology is good. I appreciate it. But I also understand there's certain needs we have that technology can't quite fulfill. And we are not willing to change. That's really what I'm saying. But the solutions you provide make a heck of a lot of sense. Especially if I know that there's a schedule to these things. This scheduling, first of all, that's something which I've actually appreciated. So I don't have to be worrying at every week.
Yeah.
There's a schedule. So even if you call me and tell me, the schedule is, you go on this day.
Payments are made on Friday.
Yeah, so you go on Friday.
And even if you don't go, there's a way you can schedule it on the system, and on Friday at 8 a.m.
You will get paid.
Yes, the money will be disbursed.
So that doesn't, I think it kind of then leans on the trust issue. So then how are you able to guarantee that, customers can then trust and say, really, if I'm wherever I am on the planet, that your money is safe and that it will do what it is meant to do.
Yeah.
Because when it's just often been the habit that diaspora money transactions is synonymous with, like you said, air afterwards, right? But then how then are you able to set in those safeguards, guarantees that folks who put their money in will have their money when they come to look for it?
And that's a very interesting question. It's a very nice question. And I think the one word I would use is transparency. So from the minute you onboard on this account, you're able to log in through the channels. If you've done the remittance, you're able to see that the money I actually remitted, ndio hii hapa. Yeah. And then when you're doing the transactions, because we integrated to all these other channels, the mobile monies and all the other banks, you're able to actually validate that I was paying CT or I was paying Eric. The validation is there. You're able to confirm and reconcile that I've actually done the transaction I wanted to do. You have the e-monthly statements, so you're able to also reconcile how much money is going out, how much money is coming in. Yes. So the bank is there. It's an open book. Your account is an open book, basically. So that builds a lot of trust when it comes to this customer. And then again, we've listened to the cry of the expensive remittance. So we've worked to ensure that we keep it at a minimum of 5%. That also goes a long way into ensuring our customers can trust this particular product.
How do you explain the 5%? Why 5? Why not 2?
So we looked at which aspect, so which partner can allow us to get to that 5%. And then there are a lot of things to consider. Remember, we are not there physically, so we have to partner with someone, and he also has the costs that he needs to consider. So we looked for a partner who was willing to sit down with us and understand what our mission and our vision towards providing this particular solution was, and we got to an understanding of 5% would allow them to be able to conduct the business that they're doing while still allowing the Kenyan in the diaspora to remit their funds back home so that the funds can do what they were intended to do.
I didn't see one of the benefits. Monthly charges for operating the account? 0.
No.
None at all?
None.
So the only time I am charged is at the point of transaction?
Yes.
Charged per transaction. And the transaction here would be now the transfers?
Yes.
Depositing money into this account, that's where the up to 5% comes in.
Yes.
Within the account, if I have other accounts within the bank,
We don't charge you for that.
and if I'm now sending out of this account to, say, mobile money or to other non-credit bank accounts,
Now the charges apply depending on where you're sending the funds to.
the local charges.
Yes,
though.
the local
As long
charges.
as it's local banks, it's local charges apply.
Yes.
I get it.
You know, there's something to be said, though, about ease of doing business. But the greater challenge is not the ease of doing business, but understanding how that ease applies to me. Because the principle can be out there and it makes a heck of a lot of sense. Okay, let me explain to you where I'm going to, and then I'll ask you the question. I'm working in the Middle East, okay? I have children whom I'm paying school fees for. Many of them are my relatives, okay?
You have children who, many are your relatives? Okay, I'm sorry. Please.
Yes. My own children are not my relatives. They're my
Got
children.
it. I'm sorry.
No, it's all right. English is, as we know, is not our,
Don't even
you know
care.
what, yes.
I'm good.
But I have your number, by the way.
Thanks.
Yes. So, I want to ensure that all the business that I need to do at home is done through this account.
Yes.
Okay?
Yes.
Now, walk me through the process of how it is. I started with the fees. There's the fees I need to be paying. Okay?
Septal.
Definitely. Kuna mambo ya hospitali, kuna mtu I have to pay regularly because anaendaka dialysis. Okay? Kuna nyumba
Kamjengo.
Yes. Okay? Ile ya kwanza nilimaliza, it was okay. I want to build a second one. Okay?
Please go on.
No, I'm watching you. Okay?
Let's deal with those three.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, please. Yes.
So I walk you through
Yes, please.
how you would be able to.
Yes,
make this
yes, yes,
payment.
yes, yes.
Okay. Are we assuming you already have the Nyumbani diaspora account?
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Opened it.
We're
And
starting
it's
from
funded.
I have it. And I'm
Okay.
working where I've told you.
Okay.
And, there's money.
In the Middle East.
In the Middle
Okay.
East, yes.
Okay.
So you would log into your Nyumbani diaspora account through internet banking, for example. And then from internet banking, depending on who you're paying at that point, if it's for school fees, you have the details of the recipient, of the school that needs to receive the funds. So whether it's a pay bill or whether you need to transfer the money to the school's bank, you would log into internet banking, you go to bank transfers, put the details of the recipient, as well as your children's identification at the school, and make the payment. That happens in real time. Yeah. If you're paying for medical, I believe hospitals today have a business mobile wallet option. So you're paying to a pay bill. You would be able to log into internet banking, navigate to the section of doing mobile money transfers, and you'd be able to pay to that particular hospital, depending on the details that you've been given to use to pay. And in real time, the confirmation comes back to the system and you're able to see confirmed. This money has been paid. You can see the deductions in the account.
Genius skipped a critical part.
Which is?
Where CT is paid in the Middle East into a Middle Eastern account.
So I skipped the remitting part.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's start from there.
Okay. So you've been paid your salary for your month. What you would need to do is now remit funds into your Nyumbani diaspora account. And we have different touch points that we have for the customer with our partner today. You can either visit a physical Ria Money store agent, or you can log into their app, or you can go to their website. And at the point of remitting the funds, you choose the destination as your Nyumbani diaspora bank account.
Okay.
Yes.
So wait. So which country are you in the Middle East?
There's one called Abu Dhabi, I think.
Of a country called Abu Dhabi, yeah. Yes. Otherwise known as the UAE, but okay.
So he's in Abu Dhabi.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, and the money is in an account, in an Abu Dhabian account. So you're saying he has to go physically to that bank?
He doesn't have to physically go. I believe he may have access to his bank account.
His bank account,
Yes.
all right.
Yes.
So go into your bank account with that Abu Dhabian, and then
remit the funds through. So it depends. It depends with whether this bank is integrated to Ria Money.
Okay.
Yeah? If they're not, he would either physically have to onboard the funds either use his debit card or his card with his bank
Yep.
and go into the app for Ria Money, or visit a physical store for Ria Money, or go to the website. So if you have physical cash, you go to the physical store.
Okay.
If it's a card, you log into the app, you've already onboarded your card on it, and you're putting the details of where you want to remit to. The beneficiary at this point, you would put your Nyumbani diaspora account for Credit Bank, and that money would move.
How long does it take?
It's instant.
Across the globe?
So you are remitting.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's instant. Wherever you are, as long as you're just moving from this to that, it credits immediately. And then immediately now he's able to pay school fees or pay hospital or send mobile money and so on and so forth. And the only cost was from that moment of Ria Money into Nyumbani diaspora account.
To have an average of 5%.
To an average of 5%. The rest then is...
Now, the different transactions that he's doing. So if
Yeah.
you're paying to a mobile wallet, the M-Pesa
Charges, yeah,
or
okay.
Airtel Money. Yes. So if you're paying to another bank, whether we are routing through PesaLink, those charges would apply.
How do you see this impacting diaspora? First of all, just their confidence in financial transactions. And number two, diaspora remittances into Kenya.
Okay, interesting question. So number one, because of the ease of use and onboarding for this account, we see that there should be an increase in uptake for this particular account, and this should encourage more remittances to be sent back home, because we've catered for the aspect of ease of onboarding and affordable remittance. So more and more Kenyans who are onboarded for this account should be able to send much more when they need to. Then when it comes to the economic, probably, if you're sending money for investment, these are opportunities that might be created locally in terms of jobs. You're improving the livelihoods of your relatives or your family back home. Yeah.
Okay. What does it do for those who may not be working? I ask this because sometimes we have folks who are doing just business or students
abroad.
Does it work in the same way for them, or what benefits or advantages would they have to be able to use this?
Okay, so and that's the reverse of this particular item. So if you're not working or you're a student, first of all, you have to be a Kenyan above 18 years to qualify for this account. So if you're already eligible, if you have met those two standards, so you can open the account. But at this point, it means that someone from here is the one sending money to you in this account. So we would be able to facilitate the credit to this account, but they would need a cash out agent on that side.
What is that?
So they would need to be able to access the funds.
Okay, so it could be a bank, or it could be like a...
So the fact that you have
Remember,
the
you have a
account
Visa
and it's
card as
funded.
well.
Yeah, you have a card, yeah.
Yes,
so
but
you can go to a cash point, ne?
You can go to a cash point, but this card is attached to the account. So we are looking at a student. Yes, so we could give them the card that is attached to this particular account, and the account is funded, and they're able to swipe this card when they are in the diaspora. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Makes it also very, very good for such as well. So what are we calling that? Reverse remittance? Outflows.
Outbound. That's for outbound.
Of money. Why did... Okay, not why. Why is clear. How long did it take you to develop this product?
A couple of months.
What are the challenges that you encountered in developing this?
I think the biggest challenge was ensuring we could provide a one-stop solution, not a disjointed experience for the customer. So yes, you have the account. Have we thought about why you need to remit funds back home? So we needed to plug that in. So just providing the account was not enough. So we've catered for the ease of onboarding and ensured that you can digitally open this account from wherever you are. We've catered for the cost aspect, meaning that it's very affordable for you to remit back home. And then now we looked into the why Kenyans in the diaspora are sending money back home. And then hence we added the investment options into this particular product, as well as bundling up all the other benefits that Ndu here has mentioned.
So what did you do? Did you do focus groups to get to understand what the needs are
Yes.
How did you get to actually understand these are the needs?
These are the needs
of the customer.
So looking at this setup here, I'm sure we know a friend or a relative who's abroad today. One person at least. And every other day when you're talking, you can get to ask them, but then how do you send money back home to your mom? What is the pain point today? And then, of course, even reading and researching on the statistics, you have complaints of people who it's too expensive for them to send money to their mom, or once they send this money, it's not accessible. So yes, we did have focus groups, we did have surveys. Everyone spoke to 3 to 5 people just to get to understand what is the challenge that they're facing on that particular day.
Final question, security.
Security.
You said it's a very secure platform.
Your money is safe.
Secure.
So we've really invested in technology when it comes to security. The same way you trust us here locally, the same account is, this new account is also embedded on that security that we have at the bank. So things like ensuring that we are able to validate or authenticate who is logging into the channel to access these funds, that's already catered for. The partner that we've partnered with in terms of remittance, that's someone we've authenticated, we've validated, and we are sure they are regulated in their space. So we are able to facilitate the transactions from that aspect.
Great. Once again, the URL is www.creditbank.co.ke.
Yes.
Just go in there, go to current accounts.
Personal account. Under current, you will see Nyumbani Diaspora account.
Nyumbani Diaspora account.
Or you can email us.
Follow instructions, easy to open, and you can have conversations with Credit Bank. Jean Karienye, Head of Digitization and Digital Products at Credit Bank, has been our guest. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for tuning in to Kenya's biggest conversation today. We'll be back tomorrow, God willing, from 6 a.m. It's now 10 o'clock.
Spice up your life